welcome. Phil Michaels Show on the air, and we're back after a day off. And, well, you know what? A fun day off. It wasn't just one of those days where you kind of sit around and don't do anything. Yesterday was a charity golf outing out of Wisconsin, Oconomowoc Country Club, and did some things for the Chamber of Commerce out there, and then had some other things going on here yesterday. So, but after last week, it was just nice to have, I guess, for lack of a better term, a little downtime. Well, I shouldn't say yesterday, but last week in general, just being on the road and traveling quite a bit, and the weekend that was out of Road America, which was fantastic. And I'll recap, by the way. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network, and the official beer sponsor of our motorcycle ride, the Big Units Poker Run, benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin. Start putting it on your calendar, please. Sunday, September 5th, leaving downtown Milwaukee. We're going to end up at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, police escorts and such. It's going to be a fantastic ride, but it benefits, again, Fisher House, Wisconsin. So on your calendar, spread the word. We certainly would appreciate it. Also, we're brought to you by our friends at Quick Trip. Bucks get a win. Man, what a night it was on Saturday night. If you didn't get a chance to see the pictures from the event we had at Road America, it was really cool. I got to give a lot of credit to Dan, who was the IT guy out at Road America. Dan comes down to us on Saturday afternoon, and they're going through time trials and qualifying and such for the Indy race. And he comes down and he says, "Hey, where are you guys watching the game tonight?" And I said, "You know what? Probably on my phone. The internet did not reach us down in the carousel area very well. So I just said, we're probably just going to watch it on our phone. And I don't have a real way to project it because we didn't get a chance to get out and get anything and buy anything. So to put it on the TV in the RV. So I said, well, that's what we're going to do." He said, "Well, you know what? I got something for you. And if you're going to have people down here," I said, "Yeah, we'll probably have about 15, 20 people here." Well, he comes down at about 7 o'clock, a little bit after 7 maybe, and pulls up this big, it was the only way I could describe it, is like 8 foot by 8 foot projection screen, the old movie screens, where you pull them up. He's got an 8 foot by 8 foot screen and an old style kind of projector. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's the IT guy. He got up on a pole and he angled some things on a wireless point down towards us, and he then attached this little gizmo to the top of his UTV and pointed it at the pole, and then ran a cord off of that. And next thing you know, we got a big screen outside as we sat there and watched it. And as darkness fell, it was watching it in HD TV. It was so cool. And by the end of the night, everybody that had been driving past started stopping. And it was neat because we had kind of our own little deer district, if you will, in the carousel at Road America. It was so cool to sit outside, fire going, big screen TV, projector, and watch the Bucks get a win. I can't thank the staff and Dan and everybody up at Road America enough. It was such a good time. But, man, the Bucks, they pulled it off. I had confidence going into Game 7. I was more confident than what the outcome was, because in the first half of that game, they went back to doing kind of all the crap that they had done in two games prior, where they just shot themselves and played themselves out of a victory in Game 5. So I even tweeted it out, I think. I mean, the Bucks just, everything they did right at the Fiserv Forum, they did wrong at the Barclays Center. And it wasn't until late in the ball game, minus Giannis still taking jumpers, which are ill-advised and should never be taken. They kind of got it going again. And Drew Holiday, I mean, it was funny because somebody said to me, he's Eric Bledsoe 2.0. He stinks too. Fine. I mean, Holiday's been a good player. And Holiday down the stretch found his shot. He had some big buckets. He started feeling it. I mean, even the commentator said, here we go. I mean, Holiday, he hit a couple and he started feeling it, and the jumpers were starting to fall. Now, he didn't play great in that game leading up to that point, But down the stretch in the fourth quarter, he started feeling it. Holiday bucket. So it was really, it was a great atmosphere. And then to have it end the way it did, that the Bucks walked away, they closed them out. It wasn't the best of scenarios to win in Game 7, but it was the win. They even over their own ineptitude, they still figured out a way to win, and that's the best. So Bucks get a victory in Game 7. Now it is on to Atlanta, where well, I shouldn't say on to, but the Hawks are going to have to come into the Fiserv Forum tomorrow night. Bucks already favored by 7 in that contest, and the Bucks are on the way to the NBA Finals, and now the Bucks are favored to win it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. 877-867-1670. Kinger, Bill, do you wear shoes one size too big? No. I've been at 12 since I've been in like 8th grade. Haven't changed. Every now and then, if you find a shoe that's small, like there's a dress shoe, Steve Madden, I have to buy those. I have to upgrade those. I have to go to 12 and a half or 13. But beyond that, I've been at 12 since I've been in 8th grade. Is what it is. This is from DJ. DJ says, I firmly believe the Bucks are going to win a championship. Pinch me when it's over because I just don't want to wake up from this magnificent dream. DJ, you to me. 877-867-1670. We got a lot on the docket today for the show. We got a lot going on. So today on the program, we're going to talk obviously a lot about the Bucks. And here come the Eastern Conference Finals. The Brewers, oh my goodness. The Brewers allow the Arizona Diamondbacks to snap a 17-game losing streak by scoring yet again a whopping 1 run. They are an all-or-nothing offense, and unfortunately, that's the way it's going to be the rest of the season. Just so you know. We're going to wrap up the Packers offseason, and we're also going to talk about the question of does it really matter? We'll tell you what that is coming up later on. And baseball, they're going after pitchers who are using the sticky stuff on their arms, on their gloves, on their hats, behind their ears, up their nose, whatever it happens to be. And is this something that it's about time, or is this just a bunch of BS when it comes to Major League Baseball trying to do something, anything, to stop the epic number of strikeouts and boring-ass baseball? Pitchers have been doing this for a long time, and as much as Major League Baseball wants to focus on all the sticky stuff that they're using to doctor the baseballs, the bottom line is the crop of young men playing the game today simply can't hit. It's that simple. It's that simple. But the Bucks taking on the Atlanta Falcons, Atlanta Hawks, coming up down to the Fiserv Forum tomorrow night. Deer District's going to be rocking. That place downtown was electric on Saturday night. I was not there, but I had a friend of mine who was down there and ended up going to dinner a little bit later that night, and he said downtown was just crazy. It was just fantastic. Fantastic. The atmosphere was great. The fans were great. A lot of people just enjoying themselves at the Deer District and out beyond in the bars and such downtown. It was just good to see. It was good to see the shots of the Deer District during the Eastern Conference or during the Eastern Eastern Conference playoffs game coming from TNT. So it was just good to see. It was really good to see. This is from Mark. Mark says, hey, Unit, what would you do with Giannis? Well, Mark, what do you mean? Do you mean as far as his outside shooting goes? Look, you're not going to have Giannis all of a sudden start hitting free throws and shooting from the outside well. You need to do what somebody did to him in Game 5, and that is get in his ear and say, stop it. Stop. Look, you're not good. You're just not. Every now and then, you're going to hit a bucket, and you're going to gain some confidence, and that's great, but you need to stop there. It's kind of like being a smart bettor in Vegas. You don't keep doubling down when you're losing, and he keeps doubling down when he's losing. Somebody needs to get in his ear and say, Giannis, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up on Twitter, @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels. Facebook fan page, go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us on YouTube and on Twitch TV. Download the app. Many people, it's surprising. I can't believe walking through the crowds and cruising through the crowds over at Road America this past weekend, how many people watch on YouTube. And thanks to everybody. It's a great way to pay attention to the program. You can also check the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey on your phone if you just want to listen to the program. It is a terrific to catch the program and without as many delays or interruptions as, say, TuneIn Radio. Go to Odyssey, AUDACY. Download the Odyssey app. And then all you got to do is search our flagship station, which is WOZN, the Zone out in Madison. And every weekday, 10 to 2. There we are. It's a great way to pay attention. Email us, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels, the Bill Michaels @gmail.com. Thebillmichaels.com is the website. Thebillmichaels.com. That's the website. This is from Welsh Packer Dave, who says, I believe the Bucks are going to head off to the NBA Finals. Can this really be true? Will they be the first team to bring us a championship in the last decade? Still can't believe it. Welsh Packer Dave, I mean, even Vegas believes the Bucks are the odds-on favorite to win this thing. Vegas is telling us, hey, you might as well start believing because it's within grasp. Now, tomorrow night, at the Fiserv Forum, the Bucks have to come out as emphatic as they have in a long time, better than what they played in Game 5, and put a rubber stamp on this thing to say we got past. I know it wasn't past a full-strength Brooklyn Nets. I get it, but you got to take advantage of it now. The dominoes have fallen in your direction, and maybe, just maybe, the gods of sports are shining upon the state of Wisconsin going, it is finally, other than the Packers, it is finally your time. It is finally your time to shine. Take it, run with it, enjoy it, bask in it. Here it is. Here it is. Here's the silver platter. Here is the Larry O'Brien trophy. Don't F it up. That's what the gods are telling the Milwaukee Bucks and fans in the state of Wisconsin. The only thing that can derail it would be some injury god that comes in a negative fashion and takes away a couple of the Bucks players. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. This is from Clancy. Clancy says, Unit, love the program. It's great seeing you at a Road America. Had a lot of fun. And boy, what a spread you guys put on. Thanks for everything you guys do. Can't believe the Bucks won. It was great watching it with you guys as well. I heard you. You kept screaming no every time Giannis put the shot up from the outside. I was too. Put up from the outside. The voice of reason in the wilderness, as always. Clancy, you the man. We did. We had people just stopping by because the screen was visible from the road down by the carousel. So as people would drive past, you could see it lit up in the night, night sky, so to speak, or night darkness. And people just stopped by going, you care if we stay? And we had so much food. Thanks to Quick Trip. Thanks to Robert's Specialty Meats. Thanks to Bud Light. I mean, we just opened the coolers. We had these oh God, what do they call them? Those big ovens. Those Nescos. We had Nescos. We had 3 Nescos and crock pots full of hot dogs, brats, ribs on a stick, and whatever was left. We just opened it up and said, anybody want to come over? Come on over. And we kept them warm. And we opened up the coolers and we had Bud Light for it. It was such a cool party. Such a cool party. But if you made it over, thanks for coming by. We're glad to do it. Absolutely glad to do it. And you're right. Every time he would step back and try to put up a jumper, I was screaming, don't. And I think he hit one down the stretch. That was it. Mark says, can you believe it? The Bucks have a legitimate shot at winning a championship, and the NBA has not derailed it yet. I think right now, it is, you have to assume that the NBA is hoping for the Bucks, right? Atlanta's a bigger market. but they don't have the same level of star as Giannis, right? You don't have the same level of star as the Bucks do. You like Trae Young, I get it. Bogdanovich is good, but you don't have that marketable Giannis guy. It's going to be Giannis. It's going to be Giannis against Bogdanovich, Trae Young, Middleton and Trae Young, Middleton and Bogdanovich. I mean, they're gonna try to bill it as that, but really when it comes to marketability, I think Giannis is, because he's also an international player, I think he's the guy they're going to market in this. We know Kawhi is out for game was it game 1 or game 2? Coming up. So he's not going to be available. And Phoenix is they can't go wrong between Phoenix and LA. But yeah, Kawhi's out for game 2 against the Suns. And Morris, by the way, not sure he's going to play in this one either. But the Clippers and Phoenix, I don't really think, I think they'd like to have the Clippers in, but both markets are big city. And it would be a good matchup because the last time Kawhi saw Giannis was in the Eastern Conference Finals when the Bucks obviously were up 2-0, and Kawhi and company came storming back and beat them, knocked them off to go on and win a championship. So I guess that's a storyline you can follow. 877-867-1670. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. I want to get your thoughts on this. As the Bucks go into this game fired up. Bucks fans go into this game fired up. You tell me. I'm saying Bucks in 5. I think Atlanta's going to be lucky to win a game. Bucks in 5. Your thoughts next on the Bill Michaels Show. Now lift. Ready.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
It's finally summer, Gina Della from Pella. You know what that means.
For sure, Mark Chimera. Can you believe it? In just a few months, chilly winds will be sneaking through leaky windows and doors.
But Gina, it's summer. Time for cookouts, golfing, and heading to the beach.
Exactly my point, Chewy. Sure, you and your friends are getting outside, enjoying warm sunshine and fresh air. But if you want to host game day Packers parties in comfort this fall, you've got to call Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin now.
Gina, I already have energy-efficient Pella windows, but you seem to be on a roll, so...
Depending on the style and materials you choose, you could upgrade your home with Pella windows in as little as 8 weeks.
Bring it home, Gina.
And right now, you can choose 40% off installation or 6-year no-interest financing.
That's into 2027.
You're not kidding. Just order by June 30th. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com/radio or 855-PELLA-WI.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Michaels will resume in 1 Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. You know what's funny is I just got a text message, and it's a reporter in Eau Claire. Her name's McKenna. Apparently, they're doing a story on it's Lightning Awareness Month or something like that, I guess, for severe weather, and they want to do a story on what it's like to be hit by lightning. It's not pleasant, I'll tell you that. It's not good. But, yeah, so if you're going to be in the Eau Claire area, I don't know which station. I got to take a look again. But nevertheless, I'm going to be doing that after the show today. Rick T says you better not be mushing on the Bucks unit. Not at all. Not at all. Bucks, I think, look, the dominoes fell in their direction. Kyrie goes out. Kevin Durant missed a couple of buckets down the stretch. The Bucks did just enough to get a win. Who cares? Would I have liked to have seen the Bucks get the win in the sense of against full capacity of the Brooklyn Nets? Absolutely. Absolutely. I would have loved to have seen that. Then there's zero excuses. But it is what it is. I'm sure Brooklyn's saying right now, well, hey, had we been at full strength, we would have been able to win and beat the Bucks. Well, you weren't. And here's the other thought process in all of this. I was watching the NBA Network, and as a matter of fact, yesterday when I was driving back from the golf tournament, one of the comments on NBA radio was, this should have been expected because we saw the starters for the Brooklyn Nets play, I think, only 7 times together all season long. This should have been expected. They were an injured team, an aging team. They were really good when they were all together. But to see the big three of the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie, KD, and James Harden, all play together, only happened 7 times this year. So it's not like they were healthy all season long and all of a sudden they they just fell apart at the end. This was something that we had seen all season. So I guess on one hand, it stinks that you couldn't have beaten them at full strength. On the other hand, it's like, this is the way it's been all year. Why should today be any different? So take it. You don't apologize for it. You take it. You say, look, what we needed to do, we did. We lost our starting point guard in Dante DiVincenzo. He went down. He was a guy that could hit more jumpers from the outside. He was a guy that was starting to feel it down the stretch. And we had an unfortunate, situation in which he went down. Now, it's not losing Giannis. It's not losing Middleton. It's not losing Holiday. I understand that. But it is what it is. You don't apologize for it. You take it and you move on. Who cares? What you do now is you stomp ass Because if that was the toughest team you're going to face, now you drill everybody. Now it's take no prisoners. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Taylor says, I'm really excited about the Bucks' chances. I am also happy for the NBA. I think they read something yesterday that none of the 4 teams have won or been to the NBA Finals since the merger in 1970. That's pretty cool with 4 teams like that. Scott says they better not look past the Hawks like they did against Toronto. Oh, no. No. If they do, then, you know, for all that wanted to see Coach Bud fired, then you just run him out of town. I mean, just run him out of town right then and there. Because there would be no excuse for that. None. You can't overlook anybody right now. You're on the precipice of going to the NBA Finals. You don't look past anybody. If anything, I think what happened to you against Toronto should be something that then kind of hones your focus. Eight 877-867-1670. Unit, where are you watching game 1 and game 2? Are you going to them or are you going to be downtown? You know what, Rick? That's a great question. I'm not going to the game. And I'll tell you why. Because I've gone to a couple this year and they've won. But I'm superstitious. I wasn't at the postseason. So I'm not going to the postseason. It's crazy because I have an opportunity to go to another Eastern Conference Finals. It's crazy because I have the opportunity maybe to go to a finals. But I didn't go to the postseason, a postseason game, and they've won series. I know it sounds stupid, but I don't want to do that. I did that through the Brewers postseason a few years ago, and I did it through the Packers season a few years ago. So it's, you know, when the Packers won, I was at every game. I made sure I was on the road at every game and went through the same. I know it's dumb. It's completely stupid, but everybody's got their superstitions, right? Everybody's got one. And me, I try to do the same thing. Man, I'd love to be able to watch, one of the games again, like we did last Saturday. Not this next Saturday, but the following Saturday at Road America when NASCAR comes. I'd love to be able to do that again and have everybody just kind of join us. That'd be fantastic. But I'm very superstitious that way. But if I do go downtown, I would, my dinner would be at my buddy Gino's at Calderon Club or San Giorgio, and then I would head over to Stenny's because the crowd at Stenny's is the best. I mean, the Deer District's cool, don't get me wrong, but Stenny's, that's where I would go. That's where I would go. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be at Wednesday Night Live at the Wisconsin State Fair Park because not only do they have music tomorrow night, but the game will be on every big screen TV, and they've got, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. They got like 14 TVs all throughout the area. So tomorrow night at the Wisconsin State Fair Park, that's going to be game 1. That's where I'll be tomorrow night. But I'm pretty superstitious that way. This is from Joe. Joe says, hey, Unit, I believe the Bucks are going to win it all. When they do, where do you think the parade is going to be? My guess is it would be on Wisconsin Avenue and then down to the Fiserv Forum, or they take it from the Fiserv. This would be what I would do. See if I'm wrong. See if you like this. If I was to do this, I would say I would leave the Fiserv Forum in buses, open air buses, go down to Wisconsin Avenue, take a right going west on Wisconsin Avenue, take it all the way down Wisconsin, down to the Brewers Hill area, down the driveway and into American Family Field, where then you celebrate it with 35,000 going crazy. That would be the way I would do it. If anybody in Milwaukee and if anybody that has any sense and sensibility at all would do it, that's where I would do it. Unless, of course, you do it in reverse. You invite everybody into American Family Field, and then they leave and say the Larry O'Brien Trophy is going home. And they leave the field and go back up and then down Wisconsin Avenue, leading to the Fiserv Forum, where then they take that trophy, hoist it, and they walk it into the front doors, and then they place it in its prominence. You tell me what you like. And they should take the hop. Rick, I hate to tell you this, but that piece of crap trolley that they spent that money on doesn't go to the Fiserv Forum. Just an FYI. Let me tell you something. Here, listen to this. You tell me what this is. You know what that is? Take a guess. Yeah, that's regarding the hop and that trolley that they spent millions on. That's somebody pulling their head out of their, well, you get what I'm saying. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. Coming up after the top of the hour, we got Eric Nehm, who's been there live and in person for each of them with the Athletic, covers the Milwaukee Bucks. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes.
Hi, Kathy. It's Bill Michaels. I'm sorry I was on the air when you called. Oh, crap. Yeah.
Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. And we were talking some Milwaukee Bucks basketball. Coming up after the top of the hour, Eric Nehm of The Athletic is going to join us, and we'll talk with him about this Bucks team now advancing and moving forward. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Maddie says, great job at Road America. Had a lot of fun up there. Thanks for the tickets. I believe the Bucks are going to get a championship. Will this be the first of 3? The Brewers seem to have enough pitching. Can they get another bat? And if Aaron Rodgers returns, do you feel that the Packers are ready to grab one as well? Maddie, that's a lot of optimism. The Brewers, if the Brewers get a consistent bat, it'll help. But I don't think the Brewers are offensively apt enough to be able to win a chance. It doesn't mean they can't. But if I had to pick the percentages for the Brewers to win a championship, I would probably say maybe 20% that the Brewers would win a championship. As much as I want to believe they could or will, I find it really hard to see a team that battles itself consistently, even though they're tied for the top spot with the Cubs in the National League Central. I find it hard to believe that the Brewers are going to be able to get past, say, San Francisco or LA or San Diego for that matter, to get themselves to a championship. And, you look at what's going on right now over in the American League. Now, it doesn't mean they can't, but even after the, garbage can gate, Houston is a really good offensive team. Chicago, the White Sox are a really good offensive team. So's Tampa Bay. So's Boston. The Brewers just aren't. What has kept the Brewers in the chase for a pennant is their pitching. If they had average pitching at best, they would probably be sitting with Cincinnati and Pittsburgh right now. I don't think they'd be as bad as Pittsburgh. I shouldn't say that. I mean, Cincinnati's 4 games back. They'd probably be back Cincinnati for the fourth place in the National League Central. And ESPN Steve, our buddy, says, well, you're probably being very nice to the Brewers by giving them 20%. And maybe that's just my optimistic side. But I look at pitching. I mean, you look at the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Padres are all plus 75 or better in run differential. The Brewers are -7. -7. Hell, the Cubs are +18. The Mets are 37-30, leading the East, and they're +19. But you look at Houston, +120. Look at Oakland, +24. The White Sox, +88. Tampa Bay, +73. Boston, +34. And the Brewers are -7. Teams don't win championships being -7 in run differential. They just don't. So the likelihood of the Brewers winning is very slim unless you get a few guys really starting to light it up and they get a bat that's going to put them over the top. But the pitching has been very good. The pitching will keep them tight, but something's got to give. And at this point in the season, as we sit here on June 22nd, you're kind of looking at a team saying it is what it is. It's not going to get a ton better, you know? The Packers, you're right. Aaron Rodgers comes back. If everything that's been stated kind of goes by the wayside, things settle down, maybe Rodgers decides, okay, I'm going to come back. Maybe this was going back to what Emmanuel Acho said, that this is more about not wanting to have an offseason of mini camps and mandatory mini camps and OTAs, rather just taking time to himself. Maybe that's what this is about. Okay. Maybe he comes back. Maybe the whole thing about, renewing his membership or the auto renew on his credit card, renewed the membership at the Green Bay Country Club. Maybe that, I don't know. Maybe he comes back and it's all right with the world and he just wants to make his 30+ million. Who knows? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. The 1987 Twins had a negative run differential. It can happen. Rick, you had to go back to 1987. 34 years ago. 34 years ago. Tell me a team that did it before that. You know, not many teams are going to have a negative run differential and are still going to win championships. They just don't. You had to go back 34 years. Not going to happen. Okay. He said he's a fan of Kirby Puckett. Well, that's how he remembers that. Kirby Puckett was awesome. Kirby Puckett was fantastic. 877-867-1670. So, Matty, going back to your email, you can cross your fingers, and the Bucks could be the first domino, no doubt. But the likelihood of all three acquiring a championship, I think, is extremely slim. Extremely slim. Jesse says, hey, when Eric Nehm comes on, ask him if he thinks Bud will be fired if they don't win this Eastern Conference Finals. If you beat the best team in the East and then fall to the Atlanta Hawks, that should be grounds for automatic firing, correct? Yeah, again, it depends on how you lose. If you lose in the sense of, you just get beat, yeah. If you lose because you got three guys that go down to injury, well, then that's different. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. It just depends on how you go down. If you go down swinging, that's one thing. But if you go down and you're just all beat up and injured and you don't have the horsepower to be able to get you there, well, then that's something a little bit different. Just something a little bit different. Alexander writes, he says, Giannis has to stop shooting threes and this team will be okay. When he plays down low and gets mean, that's when this team is at its best. 100% agree. 100% agree. When he is down low, he's crashing both the offensive and defensive boards. He's distributing the basketball. He's getting his triple-double. That's when he becomes the most dominant player there is. That's when he can dictate the game. I don't mind pull-up jumpers from, say, 10 feet, but 10 feet and in. Don't give me the 15-footers and beyond the arc. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's just awful to watch. It's awkward, and you hold your breath. There's no consistency there. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is The Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show brought to you by our good friends over there at Quick Trip. Hey, don't forget, coming up Monday, next month, June 28th, Ironwood Golf Course in Sussex, west of Milwaukee. We've got our first cigar dinner coming up Monday, June 28th. Monday, June 28th. So if you're looking for a great night, great afternoon, come on out. We're going to be broadcasting live from Ironwood Golf Course in Sussex and with our friends from Tobacco Outlet Plus. Going to have a great time. So come on out Monday, June 28th. Next Monday, you can get your tickets by simply going to tobaccooutletplusgrocery.com. tobaccooutletplusgrocery.com. If you're in the area, if you're in the Milwaukee area, you can buy the tickets right there at Ironwood Golf Course as well. It's going to be a fantastic time. Going to have fun, tell some stories, going to play a little golf. So out coming up Monday, some friends at Quick Trip and Tobacco Outlet Plus Grocery. That's Tobacco Outlet Plus Grocery. Coming up after the top of the hour, going to talk with Eric Nehm of The Athletic. He's going to be joining us, covers the Milwaukee Bucks as the Bucks get ready to take on the Atlanta Hawks at Game 1 coming up tomorrow night at the Fiserv Forum. Looking forward to that. This is from Joseph. Says the Bucks will choke this away. Something is going to happen to ruin our hopes in Wisconsinites. Every time we get close, we watch it fritter away. Isn't that kind of the attitude? I think every fan base, there's an expectation. Fans in New York with the Yankees expect championships. They expect it. They feel it. Well, when Brady was there, Patriot fans felt it. Every year they were going to win a championship. I don't know. I mean, the Lakers had a run. The Celtics had a run, where they were dominant. Miami, when LeBron and company were there and Dwayne Wade, they had a run. The San Antonio Spurs had a run. They felt it. Bucks fans, Wisconsinites don't feel it. I think you hold your breath and hope for it, But this reminds me very much of when the Packers watched the New York Giants beat Dallas. And then you kind of felt it because otherwise the Packers were going to go to Dallas for the NFC Championship game. Instead, everything fell into place. And here came Eli Manning. And you're like, this is great. Eli Manning, he's not a great quarterback. They knocked off Dallas. They got kind of lucky. And you watched it all just unfold. And then Eli and company came into Lambeau Field and won. And you were stunned. You were shocked. How does this happen? Because you felt we're on our way to a Super Bowl. Here we go. And then it all came crashing down. So I think that's where, because as a wild card, nobody expected the Packers to win by first going to Philadelphia, then going to Atlanta, and then going to Chicago and winning a Super Bowl against the Steelers. Nobody expected that team to win because they had lost some games along the way, and you thought there's no way. They had to win just to get in. They had to win the last two games just to get in the postseason. So this is by far the best opportunity going in as a favorite that Wisconsinites have felt regarding Bucks basketball in a long time, not since 2001, 2002. In years. And you still have that angst that it's going to fall apart. Until it's done, it ain't done. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Kinger says Cowboys fans think the same way. They expect to win championships. Kyle says, I'm concerned about the Bucks letting down tomorrow after a hard 7-game series against the Nets. They absolutely need to smash the Hawks in the mouth and set the tone for the rest of the series. Kyle, you're right on with that. Right on with it. I said that a little bit earlier in the program. They need to come in and just set the tone and say, this is it. We will not be denied. We have arrived. Here we go. Absolutely. This is Anthony. Anthony says, just expecting to lose makes it feel like they're going to win. You're kind of like me. You got that superstitious thought process. Well, if I don't expect too much, they'll surprise me. Okay, I'll sit back and wait. I won't count on a victory here. And then when it happens, you're like, all right, yeah, it happened, No, I think we're all wringing our hands right now of anxiety, waiting for game one to get underway to see what the Bucks are actually going to deliver. Chris says, I have new respect for KD and the way he responded after the loss. Hell of a player. I agree. Do you see the embrace that he and PJ Tucker had after that game? Where those are two guys that are friends, and they went at it. They went at it during that series, man. PJ Tucker was all over him, trying to do everything he could. And I'll tell you this, I thought for a while in that game 7 that the things that PJ Tucker was being called for, his frustration level was justified. I thought the officials just don't want the Bucks there, because the stuff that was being called on the Bucks was nowhere near being called on the Brooklyn Nets. Nowhere near being called. And the Bucks still were able to persevere and overcome. I really thought that this was something that the anxiety of Bucks fan, as far as feeling the fix was in, was just bad. It was palpable. It was palpable. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. Hey, thanks to our guys at Road Track and Trail, Wisconsin's largest power sports, well, nation's largest power sports dealer. Go to roadtrackandtrail.com. That's roadtrackandtrail.com. And our friend from Roberts Specialty Meats, Paul Roberts, and everybody down there with the ribs on a stick that they gave us for the fans that came out and enjoyed the tailgate. Man, those were the huge hit. Huge hit. Everybody loved them. Go to robertspecialtymeats.com. That's robertspecialtymeats.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show next. Number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show, and we are glad you're here today on this Tuesday. Getting you ready for Bucks basketball tomorrow night. Bucks and Hawks, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Bucks favored to win. Bucks favored to win it all, as a matter of fact, at this point. To talk more about it, joining us on the hotline, our good friend from The Athletic, Eric Nehm, is here. Eric, how you been, buddy?
I'm well. I've gotten to catch up on sleep a little bit, so I'm in a good place right now.
So this team in Game 7 against the Nets, watch them kind of revert back to what they did in Game 5, some of the bad habits, some of the shooting from the outside, ill-advised by Giannis and such, but they were still able to overcome. I guess a takeaway from that series against the Nets would be what?
I think this team is more resilient than anyone thought they were, and more resilient than they've been the last 3 seasons. And I guess the reason why that is kind of my takeaway is that I don't know that they win this game 7. Like, I don't know if they could have handled it. And you just kind of go up and down the roster, and you have mistakes by your key guys, and then your key guys responding to those mistakes. So you saw Giannis airball free throws, and yet in the biggest moment of the game, he gets to a hook shot on Kevin Durant to tie the basketball game with a minute left in overtime. It was a spot in Game 5 where he did a fadeaway jumper against James Harden in that exact same spot. So you just saw the growth. You saw Brook Lopez have one of the worst brain farts I can remember at the end of regulation, forgetting about the shot clock, and then having a monster block in overtime. You have Chris Middleton starting the game 2 for 11 at the half, and then getting leaned on late to get baskets. Drew Holiday, even worse, 2 of 17 from the field. If Eric Bledsoe was 2 of 17 from the field, I don't think he would have wanted to be on the court. He would have found a way off the court. The Bucks would not have played him, and instead, in the fourth quarter, when they need a bucket, Drew Holiday gets a couple of them and really helps put the Bucks in a place to force overtime and then to ultimately win this game. So I just thought it was a resilient performance from a team that I don't think many people think of as being resilient.
One of the comments Charles Barkley made in this, I think it was after Game 5, was that this team is dumb. They play dumb basketball. Part of it is you can say, okay, maybe it's coaching. The other part of it is maybe just the acumen of the player. Do you feel that this team makes dumb mistakes?
I think where people get frustrated with the Bucks is that, a lot of teams when they play against the Nets or a team that people see is inferior defensively, they will do everything in their power to find the weakest link and attack that link relentlessly. And that just isn't something that the Bucks do. And that is obviously, to me, a weakness of Mike Budenholzer's teams, that they don't go after those weak links in the same way and just relentlessly attack those weak links. But I think there's also some level of acknowledgement in there from Bud that, maybe his guys aren't the best in those situations. Maybe they aren't the best at exactly figuring out how to go after Kyrie Irving or target him on the other end. So they just keep running their offense. And I think that ultimately can come across as low IQ, as not understanding the situation, is not being able to find that weak link and take advantage of it. But I do think it is in many ways purposeful from the Bucks that they're going to keep running their stuff and they're going to keep doing what they do. And ultimately, that worked out. But I can see why people don't enjoy watching it or get upset seeing that on the offensive end, because, that leads to bad isolation plays. That leads to Giannis taking jumpers that are maybe ill-advised because, he's given the opportunity to isolate against the player and he opts for the jumper. So I think that there's a lot to be said there where I get the criticism, and I think I largely understand where it comes from, but also I think you do have to acknowledge that Mike Budenholzer kind of knows his own tactics and knows his team to a point where they're going to do what they do, and obviously that worked out in the last 2 series.
That's my question, because if they do what they do and they lose, then you have to say that the tactics are wrong. I mean, there's a lot of question. I mean, it depends on who you read, but if they lose, if they would have lost the series to the Nets, most people had Budenholzer out of town. If they lose to the Atlanta Hawks, they have Budenholzer out of town. I mean, because if you're going to go down, you go down doing things right, not doing things the way you've always done them, only for the fact that you got Giannis shooting threes and he should never be beyond the 3-point arc. And that's where the of dumb aren't working. Just stay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean it's a promotion for sure. Like I do believe that if they lose to the Nets, like I'm maybe not talking to you right now because I'm in the process of writing a story about Mike Budenholzer not returning as the head coach, and I think the same thing could be true if they lose the Hawks. Like they are a better team than this Hawks team and should go to the NBA Finals. And if they would happen to lose in this series, I think you'd kind of have that same feeling. And the question with Budenholzer is always, is he willing to adjust? And on top of that, can he pick out the right adjustments? And I think with him, obviously, you saw the stagnation of the offense where things weren't going all that well. But I do think inside of there, they figured out that a Middleton Giannis pick and roll in the middle of the floor was ultimately good offense for them. And that takes Giannis off the ball, that keeps the ball out of his hands so he can't have the temptation to shoot a three or do anything like that. You use him as a screener, and then you get your better shooter in the middle of the floor. So they were able to do things like that. They were able to totally change the way that they offensive rebound. It's not something that they have done under Budenholzer. And in 2 series now, they've sent Lopez and Tucker to the glass and really dominated on the boards. So I think inside of there, while it might not be the adjustments some people want, I do believe that Mike Budenholzer really made some nice adjustments in that series. The one I keep pointing to is out of halftime in Game 7, they switched to Giannis and Brook Lopez recovering. And essentially what that did was it blew up everything the Nets were doing offensively. They had a really competent first half. The Nets felt good about what they were doing. The Bucks made that single change, and it really just messed everything up for the Nets. The Bucks opened with a 7-0 run to start the second half, and then obviously ended up beating the Nets late. So I just think it might not always be what people want, but I do think this postseason, Mike Budenholzer has shown a willingness to adjust in a way that he simply hasn't shown in his first 2 years in Milwaukee.
Talking with Eric Nehm of The Athletic and talking some Bucks basketball. Now on to the Atlanta Hawks. So we know Trae Young is going to get a lot of the spotlight here, but who else can beat you in Atlanta that the Bucks should be wary of?
Yeah, obviously it starts with Trae Young. And for me, I wrote it today at The Athletic. I think the big thing is always realizing that his best abilities and his best traits are the ways in which he gets people involved offensively. That, sure, Trae Young can score, and we've seen him do it in the first 2 rounds, but where he really beats up teams is when he starts to score, you start sending more help to him, and then, oh, look at that, he's got 12 assists or 14 assists. To me, this series comes down to whether or not the Bucks can make him more one-dimensional and say, hey, man, you want to score? Fine. Score as much as you want, but you're going to take a bunch of shots to do it. We're going to make those shots really tough, and we're not going to give you any of those other passes. Because I think when you look at the things that can really hurt the Bucks, it's if Clint Capella gets 10 lobs in a game. If he's able to, in the pick and roll with Trae Young, you give Young too much attention, and then all of a sudden he's getting dunked. I think it's if you give up 5 threes to Bogdanovich because you've moved away from him to help on Young, and then all of a sudden he's open on the side. To me, it's really about how you control what Young can control. If all Young is able to do is shoot floaters and shoot threes and try to get to the rim and score, I think you've put yourself in a really good position. But if you're letting him make plays and get all those other guys involved, like I said, like a guy like Bogdanovich that can get really hot, he's dealing with a little bit of an injury right now, but if he can get very hot, that's the kind of guy that can swing a game and thus swing a series. So I think you worry about that. I think you worry about Clint Capella catching lobs. To me, it's all about how you control what Young can do offensively. If all he can do is score, you put yourself in a pretty good position.
Should the Bucks be concerned that Drew Holiday went so cold, or the fact that he's shooting and hit big buckets down the stretch and showed a lot of confidence?
I think you have to be worried that he hasn't looked better this postseason. When the Bucks kind of put this team together, they put a lot of eggs in the Drew Holiday basket. And then as the season unfolded and he played well, they put a whole lot more eggs in the sign of a massive contract for Drew Holiday as well. I think there has to be some level of concern that as that third guy, he is not operating at the level that he did in the regular season, at the level that he has in the past. You haven't seen him be as good as he has been in previous years in this postseason. And I do think that is a concern for the Bucks. Obviously, like you said, he came up big in the biggest moment. And if the Bucks end up going on to win a championship, I think everyone will remember that 4 to 5 play sequence in the fourth quarter where Holiday took over despite being 2 of 17 at that point. So it is obviously noteworthy that he was able to do that in Game 7. But I think overall, if you're the Bucks, you just want to see him be more consistent. You want to see him play better. So to me, it's a level of concern more than it is, any sort of excitement about him coming through in that moment.
With obviously the Hawks being a team that's not favored, what do you expect tomorrow night? Do you think that the Bucks should just come out? Because I think you come out and you put a stamp on things. You come out and say, we are the dominant team. We just beat what many consider to be the best team in the Brooklyn Nets. Do you come out and look for an emphatic win, or do you think that this 7-game series took a lot out of them?
Man, it definitely did. It did take a lot out of them, but I think overwhelmingly during Mike Budenholzer's time in Milwaukee, the Bucks, when they are favored, come out and perform pretty well. They have done it before where they take care of business when they are the favorited team. But at the same time, I think there's always a level of concern with the way Giannis Antetokounmpo plays in series. He tends to try to find his way, and that means Game 1 and Game 2, he's feeling things out. He's trying to figure out exactly how to attack and how to find his places. And obviously, we saw that against the Nets, right? Where Game 1 and Game 2 were probably his worst 2 games of the series, where he was trying to figure that out. So I think that is always the constant struggle with this Bucks team, is that oftentimes if they are struggling early in the series, it's because Giannis is trying to figure out where he will eventually get to in the series and what he will eventually be able to do. When in this situation, it might just be, hey man, do everything you can, throw every haymaker that you have, that get it done in Game 1, put your stamp on this series, and let the Hawks know that this is going to be a quick one. So it's a really tough spot, because that is typically how Giannis tends to approach playoff series.
Let me say, they get past Atlanta and we dare to dream. Who matches up least with the Bucks in the West, do you think? Is it LA and Kawhi, or is it the Phoenix Suns and that young up-and-coming team?
I think it's really about Kawhi Leonard's health. If Kawhi Leonard is healthy, comes back in that series, and he's good to go for the finals, I think you would prefer the Phoenix Suns. I think that would be a better matchup for the Bucks, a team that they can really do some things against. But at the same time, the Bucks lost twice to the Suns in the regular season. They lost in close games where down the stretch, the Suns were just a little bit better than they were. So I think no matter what, I know there was a lot of talk about how, whoever wins, Nets, Bucks, they're going to win the championship, right? But I just think so often we don't know how these playoffs play out. We don't know who steps up in the big moments, and we don't know who fades in those big moments. So I think no matter who they get from the West, it's going to be a tough test. But if Kawhi Leonard is healthy, that Clippers team is probably the one you want to avoid.
Eric, always a pleasure, pal. I appreciate it, and we'll touch base as the postseason continues, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, buddy. There you go. And that is our buddy Eric Nehm of The Athletic. He covers the Milwaukee Bucks, and a really tremendous breakdown. Yeah, if Kawhi Leonard's on his game, you kind of hope you don't face him. You want the path of least resistance on your way to a championship, because when you're crowned and you get the ring, nobody's ever going to take that away from you. You take it for what it is, and injuries are a part of the game. And like I said, you hope that the Bucks don't sustain any injuries further than the Dante DiVincenzo injury, and that they're able to kind of remain healthy throughout this postseason. But man, oh man, We, as a Bucks fan, as a Bucks fandemonium, so to speak, united, a lot of optimism for the Milwaukee Bucks as the postseason winds on. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back. Great stuff from Eric Nehm of The Athletic there, joining us for a couple of minutes. I want to remind you, our friends over at New Mel Medical, they are the original at treating guys with ED, and others have come along the way, but they are the original. They're the best. They're the number one helper, if you will, and they are medical experts. The medical experts have been helping guys with ED with a 98% success rate for a long time, all but guaranteeing the fact that they can help you out. And when it comes to low energy, brain fog, if you're sluggish, moody, whatever it happens to be in that realm, they can help you out with that as well, because that could be low T. And if you're over the age of 30, just stop in, get your numbers checked. It takes about 10, 15 minutes, and you can kind of see where you're at, and they can come up with a plan that can give you more energy, make you feel better, even make you lose when it comes to, or maybe can help you really works. And I am the living testament to that. I've took it off, kept it off, and feel great. And just to enjoy my life each and every day. They can help you out with vitamins. They can help you out with just energizing your life, chemically balanced. I mean, all that kind of good stuff from friends over at Nehm Medical. Call them. They have 2 locations in the state of Wisconsin, 414-455-4451. If no matter where you're listening to us, call them because they can set you up anywhere. 414-455-4451. It's 414-455-4451. Again, 414-455-4451. So there you go. Give them a shout. That's the Nehm Medical Center. Good people over there. Good people. Doc Tim and everybody. Carlos. They do some good work over there. A lot of things to get to. Major League Baseball has begun cracking down on foreign substances with pitchers. And this is one of those conversations that you can have, and you can say, well, you know what? The Brewers offense stinks, and it's because pitchers are juicing the baseball with all kinds of sticky stuff. Okay. I can go along with that. I can say, well, maybe that is something to pay attention to, you know? On the other hand, do you think Major League Baseball wants to crack down on pitchers using foreign substances, this sticky stuff, okay? Whatever sticky stuff they want to call. I just look at it as, look, they've been using this for a long time. Phil Niekro had an emery board pop out of his pants pocket. He was cutting the baseball. Pitchers have been going to their arms, going to the bill of their cap, putting Vaseline on the baseball. I mean, anything and everything they could to gain some type of advantage. A couple more inches on a breaking ball, a little bit more dip on an off-speed pitch, on a splitter, on a slider, whatever it is they can. And all of a sudden now, Major League Baseball says, well, wait a minute. This is a problem. See, I understand you want the game to be level and fair, right? I think we all do. But I got to say, they're trying to patch a hole with a Band-Aid after the boat hit an iceberg. They're doing anything and everything they can to speed up the game. They're doing anything and everything they can to make the game more exciting. They're doing anything and everything they can to alter rules along the way to make it more acceptable for today's audience. And it's not working because the game itself was legislated differently due to the way the game is viewed. And by that, I mean, you are trying to legislate against sabermetrics. And as much as you want to check guys for having some kind of foreign substance on the baseball, as much as you want to put, the possibility of outlawing the shift, that you want to have guys speed up their walk-up time, put pitch clocks in between pitches, all of that stuff. The bottom line is the grip it and rip it mentality of the sabermetrics changed the game of baseball. And it's not for the better. Unless, of course, you have built a team that is unbelievably good at gripping it and ripping it. And then you've got pitching to back it up. I mean, the home run has become prevalent. The art of 90 feet is gone. Hitting in the opposite direction is gone. Hit and run is gone. Stolen bases are gone. All the things that made the game exciting. Even if the ball wasn't in play via pitch, you still had the thought that Ricky Henderson was going to steal second. Growing up as a kid, man, you got Joe Morgan on first. You knew it was a double because he was going. There was an actual T-shirt from years ago that said, "There goes Joe." That was Marty Brenneman's call. Here's the windup of the pitch. There goes Joe. Throw to second, not in time. And then, everybody erupted because that was what you expected. So the art of the game has changed. So as much as I want to get into this, where Major League Baseball is doing the right thing and they're going after pitchers and pitchers are doctoring, and we're playing within the rules of the game. Okay? Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But I don't think it's going to have nearly the effect that on the game in a positive direction that the sabermetrics have had on the game in a negative direction. It's just not, it's not going to balance out. It's just not. Because I just think that the game has morphed into something so different. That's all. I just think the game has changed. Times have changed. And I don't think we're going to get it back because let's be honest, it's going to take a generation of new players learning the game in the old-fashioned fundamental way for the game to then go back to what it was. You're going to have hitting phenoms come about that can put the ball in play consistently. You're going to have, we mentioned Kirby Puckett. You're going to have the Kirby Pucketts and the Tony Gwynns and the Pete Roses and Robin Yountz, those type of players to come back around again that are going to hit more consistently and hit to the gap and drive the ball the opposite way, hit the pitch where it's pitched for this game to come back. Not just going out and checking the arms and the gloves and behind the ears and such of pitchers on the hill. So you can commend Major League Baseball for trying to crack down on this, but this is all too little too late because the game has changed. The game has changed. And it's a shame that it's changed in that direction. 877-867-1670. Don't forget our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. You have until the end of the month. They got a terrific deal going on. You get to choose, which you don't get to do very much, but you get to choose. So go to Pella Windows and Doors and check out what they have to offer. And this is the way it goes. So if you decide to replace your squeaky, your non-secure, non-locking, hard to open, hard to close windows or doors that take a mighty push or pull just to get to go in the direction you want them to go, get a hold of our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Go to PellaWI.com/radio or call Pella 855-PELLA-WI. 855-PELLA-WI. Here's the reason why. Because if you upgrade now, you get to choose between 6 years, no interest financing, or 40% off installation. 6 years, no interest financing, or 40% off installation. But it's more than just a really good deal. Because right now, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, after a 2021 consumer survey, they are the highest value, the highest quality, and the best innovation windows and doors out there. And they're the most preferred windows and doors by remodelers, renovators, builders. 2021 consumer survey says it. They're the best. They're the best. So just order now by the end of the month for your chance and your choice of 6 years, no interest financing or 40% off the installation, whichever benefits you the most. And you can set up your free consultation today. Go to PellaWI.com/radio. That's PellaWI.com/radio, or simply call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA, 855-PELLA-WI. Tell them Bill Michaels sent you. A whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show continues on. Hey, we got some great people that help us out. Don't forget about our buddy Dwayne at Dwayne's Cover It All in Wausau, Wisconsin's best canvas upholstery and boat cover providers. Matter of fact, I just took my boat up to get a little work done to it before I leave on vacation in a few weeks. And I was up at Skipper Bud's, and they were marveling at the repair job that was done to the travel cover and the upholstery. How the tearing the upholstery, you can't even tell where it was repaired. It's amazing. The new floor that was put in this thing, just amazing work. And it's not just boats and such. It's office furniture. It's your furniture, leather upholstery, whatever it happens to be. You got to get a hold of my buddy. Anyway, Dwayne Wayne's all com 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. That's Dwayne's Cover It All. Speaking of Skipper Buds, check out their huge select. I was just there yesterday, and they have pontoons, this big shipment of pontoons that just showed up. All the trailers, all the pontoons and stuff are being unloaded as I was up there. They got a couple of fishing boats in that are brand new, plus all the used inventory. They've got Mastercraft, Taiga. Call my buddy Todd. He's the general manager at the one in Pewaukee, and this is where I was. 262-544-1200. We're in the midst now of summer. Yesterday, summer started. 262-544-1200. Again, 262-544-1200. Ask for Todd. He's the GM, and they're making deals, all kinds of deals right now on inventory that they have in stock. So make sure you get a hold of them again. 262-544-1200. Let's do this. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's go to Mike listening to us in Madison. Mike, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Pretty good, Bill. Love the show. I was just thinking about, with Major League Baseball and the pitchers and spin rate and the sticky substance. If you just look at the last 10 years in Major League Baseball, how many times did the pitcher throw the pitch, the batter didn't like the way it moved, ask the umpire to check it, the umpire checks it, throws it back to the pitcher. That had to have happened thousands of times, and they know there's something on the ball, and they're the ones that enforce the rules, and, they've never thrown the ball out. They throw it back to the pitcher. They know it's sticky.
Right. No, I this is something that's been going on for a while, and we all know it's happening, and they know it's been happening. I find it interesting that Major League Baseball suddenly now needs to take an interest in it, and it's not because what they're trying to do is they're trying to change the way players hit. And they can't do it because they can't tell the player how to hit or the teams how to coach players. So what they're doing is they're going after all the illegality because they're trying to put the ball in play more. And that's something that we've talked about time and again. They want to talk about outlawing the shift and walk-up times, and that's fine. But fundamentally, the game has changed because this is the way they teach you now. Grip it and rip it. Home runs are what make a difference, not playing 90 feet at a time. Although I will say in the, 2 series ago, the Brewers faced the Reds. The Reds were dropping down bunts. Castillo was dropping down bunts. Gutierrez, with their pitcher, was dropping down a couple of bunts as well. They played station-to-station baseball, and in that particular game, they beat the Brewers. So, I mean, it just...
in decades...
Right. Go ahead.
Decades and decades ago, there were still a lot of guys hitting home runs, but you had guys like Ricky Henderson stealing bases. Baseball is just a lot more exciting. I grew up in the 70s. It was a lot more exciting back then than it is now.
Right. No, I 100% agree, and that's part of the reason why, because we cared about steals. We cared about hitting the opposite direction, hit and run, all that kind of stuff. Mike, appreciate the phone call. I completely agree. It was just a different brand of baseball. It was a brand of baseball in which something could happen on any pitch. Now, it's not. Players aren't stealing bases. Players aren't dropping down sacrifices. The squeeze play is almost non-existent. I mean, granted, it's not the way the game played. And those who are of the, I don't want to say younger generation, but more the sabermetric generation, the war generation, you don't look at it that way. You look at it the way the game's played. You go for statistically the better numbers. The problem is that when those numbers are few and far between, it makes for a really tough brand of baseball to watch. It's great when your team is doing it and doing it consistently. You don't mind watching a pitcher's duel when your pitcher's getting the better end of another team. But when you watch this Brewers team go out and lose to a team who had lost 17 straight. Now the streak has to break at some point, right? But when you watch this Brewers team lose in the fashion in which they've been losing games season long, and that is they get a decent amount of pitching, but they can't hit to save their lives, then you start to say, okay, what's wrong? Well, now we know what's wrong. You got a team that statistically, on paper, average-wise, should be a better hitting team, but they just aren't. Whether that's the hitting coach, even when they were winning games consistently, they won 17 out of 21. And we're excited about it. It's great. You tend to overshadow the fact that they really don't hit the ball all that well. 877-867 1670, 867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. Let's go to Eric. Eric, welcome to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good. What's up?
I was just thinking, I think, my opinion, of course, the one big downfall in Major League Baseball is all this analytic stuff. I mean, come on, you get all these managers who played in the majors back when we actually played ball and laid down bunts. Can't any of these managers say that, and start playing by hunches? I mean, how many times have we seen a pitcher, 2 runs, 5 hits, couple strikeouts, 85 pitches through 6? But the computer says we have to pull him because the third time around the order, he's going to give up more hits. Well, if this guy is really smoking and he's really kicking it, why can't you play a hunch and keep him in? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, I completely get it. It's you know why? It's because that's the kind of move that if it backfires, it'll end up stacking against you and costing you your job, because general managers and those that they're paying to give you all the numbers and statistics are telling you different. And they say that you're playing against their odds. Why are you doing something so outside of what the odds are will be successful? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess you're saving your backside
right
on that one. But I think that's the problem. I mean, you mentioned it many times. Many people have said many things. They can't bunt. I mean, if somebody goes 1 for 5, they strike out 4 times and they hit a 450-foot bomb, it's a great day and everybody celebrates how great he is. Something's wrong with this picture, you know what I mean?
Right.
And as far as cheating goes, well, up until the dead ball, when you have live balls, corked bats, watered down pitching in smaller ballparks, if I'm a pitcher, if I can stick a fingernail in a seam and get a little extra break, you're darn right I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, hitters get all the advantages. Well, you know what? I don't blame them. They're trying to make a living too, and if they can cheat a little bit, like I say, smaller ballparks and watered down pitching, cork bats, juice balls, smaller strike zones, you're darn right I'm going to sit there and put a fingernail in a seam and try to get a little extra spin and a little extra break. But that's just me, you know what I mean? It just seems kind of weird that all of a sudden now we're getting a lot of these lower scoring games that are actually a little entertaining and people laying down bunts like Cincinnati did.
Yeah.
Now we're going to investigate all the juicing the ball or putting rosin on the balls or putting grease on the balls or whatever they're doing. It just seems kind of hypocritical. To me, it's just about the money at this point. You'd rather see a 10-9 home run derby than a 2-1 game where the teams combine for 6 hits. And you may have to lay down a bunt once in a while to push somebody in the scoring position. But that's just me.
Yeah. No, I agree. Appreciate the phone call. Let's do this. When we come back, a story, and I wanted to get to this, but a story that many of you were asking about that came out in the Madison.com and the Wisconsin State Journal about a meeting with the seniors of the UW men's basketball program and Greg Gard and his staff, and someone recorded it. And it was sent to the State Journal anonymously. Someone recorded this meeting, and it was basically players, ripping the head coach, saying, you don't have our backs. And I have a hard time recommending this program to anybody. We'll talk about it when we come back because it's pretty explosive. You got to stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show, and it's coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
An article came out in the State Journal of a meeting, a 37-minute audio tape of a meeting in which seniors met with Greg Gard and his staff. And the audio was sent to the State Journal via an anonymous email account late yesterday, and it provides only part of what was actually said during the meeting. But it was Nate Reavers speaking at one point. He said, "I just feel like, Coach, we don't have a relationship. In my mind, it's too late for that. I think or feel like you care about our future aspirations. I can't talk to you. I just don't want to talk to you after this, Coach. I know what type of relationship we're going to have, if we have one." The recording cuts off after each of the 7 players had addressed Gard at least once. What followed was a dialogue between the players and the coaches after that, according to some people that were actually in the room. And look, this is damning in the sense of what is said and what is heard, but what is stated after the fact and we don't hear is what was regarded by some players as a better understanding, a clearing of the air, whatever. So I don't know. But Greg Gard upset when he was reached for, he said it's so disturbing that somebody would take a private family meeting and make it for public consumption. Gard said it was a very tough year playing amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. He said coaches have to be able to respond to adversity just like players do, according to one senior talking on the record who didn't want their name out there, though. They have to try different things, and that's what Coach Gard did. Is it something that us players reacted well to? No, and that's why we confronted him about it. He sat there, he listened. There was not one dry eye in the entire room. At the biggest he did, and was in tears. Said, "It's not your fault, it's my fault." According to the recorded portion of the meeting, it begins with guard Brad Davison talking about how the seniors had discussed their time at UW was coming to an end. He used the word disconnect several times, We desire a relationship with you, meaning the coach, where you know who we are, that you care for us, that you value us more than just on the basketball court, Davison said. We want that and feel like we've lacked that in certain areas. All 7 seniors had another year of eligibility. Reavers, Ford, Potter, Dimitri Trice, all going professional. Anderson went to Valparaiso, McGregory, South Dakota. They transferred out. The staff had a change with Alondo Tucker getting passed over for former UW player Sharif Chambliss. Next to speak on the after Davison in the meeting was Dimitri Trice. He referred to the previous season, talking about how it was, incredibly turbulent. Obviously, Howard Moore's family getting killed in that car crash. The Badgers inconsistent on the tournament bubble. Kobe King transfers out, leaves the program, saying that he had issues with guard that had been brewing for a while. The strength and conditioning coach, Eric Helland, forced to resign a week after he admitted to using a racial slur. And then everything turned around. Guard was named the Big Ten Coach of the Year, but UW never got a real chance to build on that momentum because COVID hit, and then the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament were canceled. He said, last year, Trice said, we were playing for one another, but we're also playing for you, Coach. I feel like the disconnect this season is we're not playing for you right now. We're not here to build your resume, so to speak, with all respect given. Ultimately, Coach, we just want the guy that came to us last year and apologized in tears. I'm not saying you have to cry and apologize, but that was honestly the biggest turning point in the year last year. We felt, wow, we can play for this guy. We can relate to this guy. At this point, it's probably too late to fix that. It's not too late to win these games and go on another run, but it's also for the people behind us. I don't want to have somebody to deal with the same blank that I've had to deal with. Reavers wasn't the only player to say that his relationship with guard was likely done and beyond repair. McGregory said, I don't know if I'll ever even talk to you again after this. We don't even talk here. I'll avoid talking to you here. So why would I talk to you after I leave here? I can't hold a conversation with you. Him saying to the coach. Also criticized, Anderson criticized guard for calling out certain players after losses, making it seem like the loss was entirely on their shoulders. He said, you always ask, why is everybody getting so defensive? Why can't anybody take it? Because I think it's what you do to us. You're always pointing the finger, Anderson said. I think the defensive mechanism in everybody is pointing the finger at somebody else. I'm pointing at Brad. Brad's pointing at Nehm. I think that comes down to a lot of us like what you do to us. Potter called out guard for not having the players' backs, specifically Davison's players, and some fans felt Davison was being treated unfairly by the Big Ten officials. Actions speak louder, Potter said during the meeting. You say you're going to do all this stuff. You say you're going to fight. You say you're going to do things, but whatever. In reality, you don't back it up with your actions. You look like a hypocrite, and that makes people not trust you even more. And then it went on. Potter also wondered aloud during the meeting whether he should have even come back to UW. He said, did I waste a year of my life to even come back here? I was planning on coming back, having a great year, and making a Final Four run. All of this kind of stuff, and then this crap happens. And it's like no one knows what to do, and it's all this rut, and it's because of a disconnect with you, Coach. And Ford added, after I'm done here, I don't know if I would want to even come back. It doesn't feel like home, even though I've spent the last 5 years here. I'm from Georgia. I barely go home, and this doesn't feel like a home away from home for me. It goes on. It goes on for quite a while. It is, and again, one senior expressed that many had the same concerns in the meeting during the exit interview. Guard's contract extended after a year. After the season, he's scheduled to make $2.65 million. But Davison said on Monday, he said, our relationship, it's always not perfect. I don't think any player's relationship is perfect with their coach, but it's one that I value and I cherish, and I'm thankful that he's my mentor for coaching the career that I wanted to start someday. It goes on from there. But it's pretty damning. It's basically the players saying, we're here to pad your resume and you don't really give a damn about us. And now what kind of effect it has, I tell you what, that's for somebody to go that far to tape that and put it out there. That's saying something. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
For the Badgers yesterday, as they hauled in commitments from three guys, tight end J.T. Seagreaves from Monroe, athlete Cade Iacomelli from Pennsylvania, and quarterback Akuri Lyde from New Jersey. All three are three-star recruits in the 2022 class. Wisconsin's class now at 5 players. And a secret audio recording from a meeting between Wisconsin senior basketball players and Coach Greg Gard leaked yesterday, and it includes harsh criticism of Gard by the players, including them saying he didn't care about them or have. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show, and we're kind of going over this this story that came out in the State Journal in Madison.com of a recording, 37 minutes of a recording in which the senior players went to their head coach and basically said, "We feel you don't have our back." It's on one hand you can say, well, it's disconcerting. On the other hand, I'll say this, okay? And I just tweeted this. Look, players and coaches have always had a love-hate relationship at times. Okay, for the most part, you love your coach, but there's times you just want to get him off your ass, and so I give the seniors a lot of credit for gathering together and going to the coach and saying, look, we feel you don't have our back. Look, some of you were saying, well, for kids that got their hurt, yeah, you're talking about recruiting here. Okay, you're talking about guys that are coming out of high school that are going off to play for a big-time college basketball. You want to know your coach has your back. You want to be able to run through a wall for that guy because you know that guy will do anything for you. That's the relationship you want. I mean, some of the best coaches I've ever played for were the ones that rode my ass, but I believe they would do anything for me. They had my best interest and the team's best interest at heart. Those were the guys you played the hardest for. So for something like this to leak out and seem audio-wise so one-sided is a shame. Because what you want is Guard's reaction to this, in all fairness. You want to know the effect. You want to know, did Guard say, screw you, get out of my office? No, that's not the report. The report is that Guard listened to it. He sat right there and he listened to it. And that's what you want a coach to do. You want a coach to listen to you. Because sometimes, look, coaches get caught up in other stuff. And when things aren't going well, and this is what I told you this. When we were talking about the end of their season and how things were just kind of spiraling out of control and it just looked like this team wasn't together, there was something else going on there. Because this shouldn't have happened. And then they got a few wins down the stretch. And we looked at this team and said some kind of a team. Remember I said Greg Gard shouldn't even have practice. He should do something else. Get them away from basketball. There's something that's not right here. You could see it. Take them to a bowling alley. Go do paintball. Something where everybody's got everybody else's back, where it's team bonding. Because this wasn't right. This was a team that looked dysfunctional. And now we know why. And it was the seniors that, kudos to the seniors, they get together and they go, Coach, you don't talk to me. You don't want to have a conversation with me. You know, why should I talk to you here when I don't talk to you at practice? And I know I'm not going to talk to you after I leave here. Because these guys felt like he didn't give a damn about them. And there's some coaches that are like that. And they don't get the most out of their guys because of it. You may not be the most loved player on the team, but at least you know from your best player to your worst player, your coach gives a damn about you. Yeah, I mean, look, the best managers, take the college player, the college kid, the high school kid coming into college and a coach relationship out of it. The best managers of anything are the ones that make their employees or people under them feel like they give a damn about them. Feel like they care, like they're just not there for their use. I mean, at one point in this conversation, I think it was Nate Reavers said, and if I'm incorrect, I apologize, but it was said, we're not here to pad your schedule or to pad your win total. That's what they felt like they were playing for. It's a blockbuster of a story, but it's not the indictment of Greg Gard that many would have you believe it is. That's not what this is. This is seniors going to their coach saying, "Hey, coach, let's put the train back on the tracks. Not only on the court, but let's start here first." And what should have happened and did happen was Greg Gard listened to him. I mean, Davis is coming back, right? So it couldn't have been that bad. Now, some players did leave. Rob Reichel said it should be more damning about the players than to Greg Gard, but in the 2021's world, the coddled athlete, it won't be the case. I hope people don't take it that way. I agree. I agree with Rob. But players and coaches have always butted heads. It's been a love-hate relationship at times. Coaches get pissed. They want you to run. And they want to run your ass off. Want you to have you question. You coach is for it. On the other hand, it's how you handle that adversity is what builds your character. And when you look back on it, you usually have an appreciation for what it is you went through. I'll go back to just my own, my sophomore year of high school. I had a coach, him and I just never saw eye to eye. Never. I never understood. He just rode my ass. I mean, anything and everything I did, it just sucked. And I finally one day I got pissed. I mean, I just got mad. That was it. I said, I'm just going to do I'm going to overachieve. And I was running, we called them Panthers because that was the name of our high school. I ran Panthers faster than anybody. I worked at the rebound drills harder than anybody. And this goes back to basketball. I just did anything and everything harder than anybody. I mean, I was going at it. And unfortunately, just as things were paying off, I ended up ripping up my ankle in a game against Moeller High School. And that was pretty much the end of my season. And then at that point, they discovered a lump in my cheek, and I had some surgery and stuff, and I was out for a while. But my coach, I'll never forget this. The guy that I thought hated my guts, when I went down with an injury, and that's when they discovered I had a thing in my cheek, came into me and gave me a hug. And he said, I knew you had this in you. I didn't know how to get it out of you. And I could not attend that year for the banquet after the season, and because of illness. And he gave this speech, not about the season and about what the team accomplished, because the team ended up going to the sectionals. But he ended up giving a speech about me and about what it took to coach me and what it took to coach to figure players out to get the most out of them. And said some nice things about me. But the experience was, and the bottom line was, moral of the story, you don't have to love your head coach. But if that guy's getting the most out of you, you look back on it and go, okay, I get it. So this is not like real damning for Greg Gard. This is more like a story of players coming together to say, hey, coach, let's put the train back on the track. We want you to be better for us. And you need to be us. But there's an element of that goes beyond X's and O's. That really there. Hell, this might even relate somewhat into what Aaron Rodgers is going through, where he says it's about character and philosophy. It's not the X's and O's on the field. They've got that down. It's how you run your business. It matters. And to the players at UW, it mattered. So when I say this is damning, as I had put out there earlier, this is damning for whom? Probably more so for the players. Or the fact that players and the coaches allowed it to get this far. But positive side of the coin is on this, that they got it back together. And even if things don't benefit those seniors that left, hopefully it benefits those that are coming in and those that are there now. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This is interesting. This is it. And producing the show is Ben Kenny. Now, Ben, you do a lot of stuff with the Badgers. So for all this that's gone on and what we witnessed this last season, how this team just looked dysfunctional at times and then kind of gathered themselves at the end of the season, give me your thoughts on this.
So I don't even want to talk about what happened on the court. because this is a conversation that's in a locker room as a players only meeting, a seniors only meeting with their coach. And my biggest takeaway from all this is I don't get how you hot mic a players only meeting and release it. Like that is something, because even if you're off the tracks, as you said, and you need to fix things, you need to fix how the team's playing or the culture, you hold these meetings for that purpose. So now if this is getting recorded and it's getting leaked by somebody, I mean, they have a pretty clear agenda, first and foremost.
Right.
But second of all, that just can't happen. So I think the biggest indictment is on the program as a whole letting this get out. Because if you're talking about the specifics, the players wanted to hold the meeting. They did. They wanted to try to fix some things. Greg Gard was listening. I don't hold this against either of them because that's the whole purpose of holding these meetings. But the fact that it got out is the indictment.
Now you have to probably look at the player who had the most to gain, or at least seemingly the most to destroy by releasing this. Or coach for that matter. That I agree with. Because now the hunt is going to be on for who actually recorded this. And on one hand, you say you want to find out who did it. But on the other hand, at this point in time, if I'm Gard, I don't care. I care because the players that came to me, their privacy was violated. But beyond that, I don't care. You know what I mean? The more effort that's put into finding this, the person that did this, to me is it's counterproductive. It makes you look like you want them to shut up and they have something to hide. At this point in time, it's kind of like, you know what? This is what was stated. You know, I feel bad that my guys were violated or that the sanctity of this meeting was violated, but we aired a lot of things. And they made, I'd love to hear Gard just say, they just made me a better coach. That group of guys right there, that moment in time made me a better coach and woke me up to a different realization, to maybe something that I had fallen away from. And the players say, you know what? We cleared the air. We felt good by the time we left there. It may have been a difficult meeting, but by the time we left there, we felt good. Like we were heard. And that's, I think, going back to what Aaron Rodgers stated. You just want to be heard. You just don't want to feel like you're on an island as a player, and those that are above you, like one of the players put it, we're here to pad your stats or pad your win total. You don't want to feel like that. So as much as this is damning in the sense of it seems like it's an agenda-filled recording or a display of a recording, I kind of feel better about the Badger basketball program. Do you?
Yes, I do. Well, you have to consider also last year they're playing in a COVID-19 situation, which was pretty impossible for basketball teams and for college athletes as a whole. Like they couldn't do anything. And I think the emotional kind of toll of that all boiled into this. I find the damning part just the fact that this is something that is out in the ether that people are reading.
Right.
Like this is something that I want my teams to do to fix whatever's wrong. And if you hold these meetings, like that's how you get stuff done. The damning part is just the fact that I'm reading an article with literal quotes from what players are saying to their coach that they consider private.
Let's do this. Let's step away and take a quick break. I want to get people's reaction to this after what has been heard and what was stated in this article and such. It's in Madison.com, and the Wisconsin State Journal talks about the Badger men's basketball program, the energy they have, and what was stated in a players coaches only meeting, a senior player coaches only meeting, and what ended up coming out of this whole situation and the fact that it's now been released. 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
It's finally summer, Gina Della from Pella. You know what that means.
For sure, Mark Chimura. Can you believe it? In just a few months, chilly winds will be sneaking through leaky windows and doors.
But Gina, it's summer.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Michael show. I put a link to the article over there. That's out of the State Journal. The audio to this. For those that are just tuning us in, someone has published the audio of a senior and players meeting with their head coach Greg Gard at UW. And the audio is by someone called Bucky Buck. Bucky Buck. And it says the Wisconsin bad, capital B, Badgers, but BAD is capitalized, culture. Bucky Buck, it says audio of players fed up with Greg Gard and Wisconsin's culture. And the audio is out there. It's been posted on YouTube. What goes on in the locker room in a players only meeting gotten out. It's a lot of profanity in the meeting, so we're not gonna play it here. It's one thing if you tell somebody what you say and what you get out of the meeting. It's another thing when you post everybody else's comments and audio and you invade their privacy. I mean, if you leave the meeting and you come out and say, hey, I told Guard I wasn't going to talk to him anymore, that he didn't have my back and what have you, and he listened to me and, on and on. That's one thing. But if you go out and you post this and you put everybody else's private thoughts, words, comments, feelings out there, that's wrong. That's wrong. But it's out there. And this is one of those things that it's clickbait. I could post it and the clicks would go up massively. I don't need to be the conduit here. It's out there. It's out there. You'll find it if you want to. I got at first you want to listen. You're like, oh my God, it's sensationalistic, but it makes you feel dirty, for lack of a better term. It just does. Makes you feel dirty because that out of all the people in that room, and they say 7 players and 3 or 4 coaches, so we'll say 10 people, 9 of them never thought this was going to get out. Nine of them went into that meeting with the intent of airing their grievances, giving honest and open opinions, and now somebody has outed them, and that's wrong. You can talk about the culture of Wisconsin. Like I said, I feel better about this. I feel better about Greg Gard. I feel better about the players that were there. Out of the 7 that were there, 6 or 5 of them left. Okay. So you understand it. They're not there anymore. But I feel better. I think Gard will be a better coach because of this. I think there will be a cautiousness because of this. But this is also a reminder that you got to put the train back on the tracks. And it's something that you're judged upon, not in wins and losses every day, but you're judged every day by your action. By your action or inaction in this particular case. And it just seems to nah, you know what, Ted? I'm not. Ted says you're going to put the link up. No, I'm not. If you want it, go find it. I've given you enough information. But it just seems like it seems like it's dirty. It just seems like it's dirty. Justin says this year is going to be a prove it year for Gard now to show that he can take the criticism and make the changes he needs for himself and the team. Otherwise, recruiting for years to come is going to be on the decline. Tom says the release of this audio is despicable. You're exactly right. You can say whatever you want about yourself, but betraying the confidence of everybody in the meeting is just plain wrong. It's why people will leer not to say anything, which defeats the purpose of this type of a meeting. Our buddy Coach Eric says, as a coach myself, I totally agree with Ben. What happens in the privacy of the locker room stays there. I agree. I just, this shit. At first, you are very anxious to hear what goes on behind closed doors because we've been trained to think that way. Reality TV reality shows, recordings, and such. But you also have to understand, again, as the article states, once the players air their grievances, the recording cuts off. What's been posted cuts off. So it's basically, hey, coach, we don't want to talk to you. You don't have our back, on and on and on and on and on. And then that's it. It doesn't deal with his response. It doesn't deal with what's said after the fact, his emotions, his feelings, his care or concern or lack thereof for the players. I mean, it doesn't deal with anything. It just basically airs the grievances, and then after that, it's done. So it's one-sided. And if you've ever been the victim of something like that, it's hard because after the fact, it's hard to clear the air over what actually went on, what truly happened, because the person that put it out there has an agenda, the clear agenda, just by the way it's posted. With it says Badgers culture, and Badgers being capital BAD. And then it's, quote, under the description of audio of players fed up with Greg Gard and Wisconsin's culture. Yeah, it's just it's just not it's not something I want to post. Not something I want to post. ESPN Steve says, but after this, will he be able to recruit? That has been a problem since he took over. Well, that's why you look at it as kind of a prove-it year. He's got some good recruits coming in, but yeah, I mean, it's this is out there now. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. 877-867-1670. Give me your thoughts. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. You want to chime in on this, your thoughts? And I can give you some of the, it's in the paper, so it's not like I'm breaking news here. A 37-minute audio file from 7 seniors going to meet with to tell them about how they feel they don't have a relationship with him is not a great look. But in this, apparently there were 11 people in the meeting. So one of them betrayed the other 10. So 11 people in this meeting, 7 players, 4 coaches, including Gard. And somebody clearly had an agenda that they wanted to put out there what they consider to be a culture at UW-Madison and the men's basketball program specifically, that Greg Gard is a problematic coach, not dealing with the aftermath. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, if you didn't go up to Road America this past weekend, did you go to the Four Seasons Island Resort? Because they had a great wine event this weekend. They've got main event karaoke coming up on June at, let's see here. No, 4th of July weekend, as a matter of fact. They've got all kinds on the weekend. Got fishing, snacking, the trails. They have luxurious suites, the indoor pool, all that kind of stuff. Fireworks are going to be on the island Saturday night, July 3rd. You got to get up there and call the hotel for details. And a reminder, like I'd said, yeah, you got all the different events going on up there. It's just a tremendous place. Just a tremendous, tremendous place. You can check out so many different things. The Four Seasons Island Resort, 7 days a week, 55 luxury rooms, various types of rooms, balconies, patios, pet-friendly rooms. They've got it all. If you want to book a corporate event, they have over 10,000 square feet of banquet space. Get a hold of our girl, Barb, over there. Call them up there, extension 101, Barb. Barb, you can call 715-324-5800. That's 715-324-5800, extension 101. That's Barb. That's our girl. Or BARB, Barb at the Four Seasons, WI.com. Barb at the Four Seasons, FOUR Seasons, WI.com. But if you want to play some golf, you want to take a bachelor party, a bachelorette party, whatever it happens to be, they got it all up there. But it's just a great place, family fun, whatever you want. You can go fishing and rent pontoons, kayak. I mean, all kinds of good stuff. All kinds of good stuff up there. Four Seasons Island Resort, great place to go. Tremendous. Going back to I don't know how to label it. Damning, if you will, for the person that recorded it. Or, I don't know, but it's in Madison.com and the Wisconsin State Journal. Wisconsin men's basketball seniors confronted Greg Gard in a meeting, and it was secretly recorded. So out of 11 people, 7 players, 4 coaches, somebody in that meeting recorded 37 minutes of audio. And it was sent via an anonymous account, and an anonymous account has then posted it on YouTube that you can hear it in many different cases, talking about how they feel that the coach, he doesn't have their back. Micah Potter said, ultimately, coach, we just want the guy that came to us last year and apologized in tears. And I'm not saying you have to cry and apologize, but that was honestly the biggest turning point of our year. We can play for this guy. We can relate to this guy. At this point, it's probably too late to fix that now. It's not too late to win games, put a run together, but it's also for the people behind us. I don't want to have them to deal blank that I've had to deal with, according to Nate Reavers. McGregory said, I don't know if I'll ever talk to you again after this. We don't even talk here. I'll avoid talking to you here. So why would I talk to you after I leave? I can't hold a conversation with you, coach. They talked about his actions speaking louder. You say you're going to do all this stuff. You say you're going to fight. You say you're going to do whatever. But in reality, you don't back it up with your actions. You look like a hip coach. And it makes people not trust. It's so, Brad Davison came out and said after the fact on Monday night, he said, look, our relationship, it's not always perfect. I don't think any player's relationship is perfect with their coach, but it's one that I value and I cherish, and I'm thankful that he's my mentor for my coaching career that I want to start someday. Davison said, I think a locker room is a sanctuary, and every locker room that you're in, you're with individuals that you've cried with and you've bled with and you've sweated with, you've worked with. So when you have tough conversations, the reason why you have a tough conversation in the locker room is because you care for the people in the locker room and because you love them and want the best for them and ultimately want growth for them. And Dimitri Trice, late in the recording, said it was too late for them to turn their season around to build on their legacy. But Trice said to Gard, it's going to take a big change with how you approach things. And then the Badgers did beat Northwestern after this, but lost with a couple of games after the fact. And one senior said about the meeting back in February, he said, to be honest, I still think he doesn't hear us, and he didn't get it. So we'll see how Guard comes out now and reacts to all of this. It's a shame that it came to this. I mean, what goes on inside a locker room should stay in the locker room. Doris says, don't pick on anyone from Wisconsin. You will be sorry. Go Pack, go. Bob says, don't rule out the possibility that the person who recorded it may not be the person who actually posted it. Things like that get shared, and somebody may have gotten this from a friend of a friend and decided to have a bit of a, quote, fun at the Badgers' expense. The best that could come of this would be the players sign a joint letter indicating that they were not the source and condemn what happened. Justin says, what a nice crap show for the new Wisconsin athletic director to deal with now as well. Eric says, where there's smoke, there's fire. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, coming out of this, you look at this and you say, in the article, it says that Guard listened and that guys felt better about it for the most part, after the meeting. Now, obviously, there's one particular person in this article that's anonymous that did not feel as if Guard heard them. And you can only assume that they're no longer with the team. But maybe this is putting things, after all the pressure of COVID, losing your season when you were on a roll prior to that, everything kind of spiraling in a very difficult direction last year. Maybe this puts the train back on the tracks. Right? Maybe that's the direction you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Ben, you follow the Badger program. Let me ask you this. If this team does not come out and perform well next year, on the heels of this, and I don't ever want to say coaches are on the hot seat, but there's been incidents in the program. I mean, this is going to highlight some of that, and there's going to be a great big highlighter across all of this. Do you feel that then Greg Gard is going into the season already with almost 2 strikes against him?
So you have to enter next season with context, because this is an extremely young team with only really Jonathan Davis, Brad Davison, Tyler Wall as guys with significant experience in the Wisconsin program. And then they got a couple transfers coming in. But this is a team going into next year that anyway, you feel isn't going to be as good as they've been in the last couple years. So I don't want to say it's just about the performance on the court, because this is a transition year anyway. You have new recruits coming in. It's just new faces running the program. It's more about the progress you see with these young guys and moving forward with a lot of the seniors gone. But I mean, the biggest thing about this, it's like, somebody wants Greg Gard gone. That's undeniable. Because you don't hear the last 20 minutes or the last 30 minutes of the meeting where, they might have moved forward and there might have been a positive end. You hear the tough part. So there is somebody that does not want Greg Gard back. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this.
That's in the article. It does say, that the recording cuts off after the players have addressed Gard at least once, and what followed, according to multiple people in the room, was a dialogue between the players and the coaches, and Gard listened to the players, then without interrupting and addressing their concerns later in a meeting, and addressed their concerns later in a meeting, and that a lot of guys felt better about this. What Gard was upset about was the fact that 10 guys out of 11, their privacy was invaded, and he's right. So it sounds like there's times to shut up and listen. It sounds like Gard did just that and then came back to it and didn't walk away and ignore it. So to say that he didn't listen, he had to have listened because he had readdressed it in a meeting later. So the same player said he walked out of the room that day feeling as though something had been accomplished, that getting everything out in the open would help. He was impressed by the way Guard then handled the situation. So it sounds like things came of this, you know what I mean, in somewhat of a positive direction. But man, for this to come out and have all this behind the closed doors, so to speak, aired that's a tough way to go. 877-867-1670. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. This portion brought to you by good friends at Quick Trip. Don't forget Quick Trip. They have everything. The lowest legal beer prices, as a matter of fact, as well, on 24 and 30 packs of all of your favorites, including Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Hey, by the way, speaking of great prices, our friends at Schulze Family Farms, they've got great prices on everything when it comes to your tailgate favorites and your grilling favorites. I'm not kidding. They have great prices on brats, 4 flavors, by the way: beef, blue cheese, pork, beer brats. They've got preformed beef patties, skinless hot dogs for the kids, for the picky eater, and even snack sticks, jerky. They've got all your steaks and you name it. Even the tomahawk, you can smoke those things. They're great. And being a family farm, they have a family farm store right there in Humbird, Wisconsin. Black River Falls area. Stop on in. Tell them I sent you. And if you want delicious pasture-raised beef delivered right to your doorstep, you can order today and get it in a couple of days. That's it. ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. Go to Scholze, SCHOLZE. ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. From their family farm to your family table. Again, go to ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. That is ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. This was from Mark, who said, this is a travesty. Whoever did this owes everyone inside that room an apology. We will probably never know who leaked the audio. Well, you're right on both accounts. They do owe them, everybody else an apology, and we're probably never going to find out who actually did it. If you're just tuning us in, a 37-minute piece of audio was leaked to the State Journal, Madison.com, and is now posted over on YouTube for all to hear, of a senior players meeting with the coaching staff behind closed doors. Greg Gard and his staff were confronted by the seniors, and they had kind of the airing of grievances, if you will, about Greg Gard and him as a coach or person or whatever it is you want to take it as. And it's pretty eye-opening. Don't get me wrong. It's these players saying, hey, I don't think that you have our back. I don't think you have our back. 37 minutes of audio of just the players addressing the coach. But as the audio stated, and as the article states, that Gard didn't really interrupt. He just listened. He just listened to what they had to say, and then later called them together and addressed it. So there's two things I take out of this. One is it's the travesty of having the sanctuary that is the locker room invaded. But on the other hand, it seems like at least Greg Gard listened. He took it as constructive, painful criticism. This is from Eric, who says, didn't Jerry Kramer do the same thing with Vince Lombardi and then made a lot of money on it after he posted it with CDs? It's actually an audiobook called Inside the Locker Room. But what Jerry did was he went to the guys in the locker room and said, would it be okay if I did this? And the guys agreed, at least according to Jerry. Now, maybe not everybody. I don't know. But Jerry put his name on it. He said, look, I'm doing this. This is some of the best speeches and some of the best insight into the world of Vince Lombardi I could have ever given. Here it is. And then put his name behind it. This person is trying to, there's clearly an agenda here. He's trying to expose something to what he believes is a, quote, bad culture in Wisconsin. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Is this something that is is this something? Let me ask you this. Let me rephrase this. I got something in my head, and I'm like, that's not the way to put this out there. Is this something you appreciate, or is this something that you find disturbing? And I'm not talking about disturbing in the sense that players had to go to their coach and say, hey, can you help us out here? Can you treat us better? And can you at least make us feel like you have our back? What I'm saying is this disturbing? Because we don't know a player did it, because some people are saying, well, the players are just soft. We don't know that. We don't even know a player did this. This could have been a coach. And Tom says this is a valuable lesson, unfortunately, that no meeting is ever guaranteed to be private regardless of how thick the closed door is. I'm thinking more about the student's future than the professors, so to speak. And Tom, you're right. That's the shame of it. Because behind closed doors meeting, I mean, I think we've all been there. We'll expound upon this. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels.
Against Milwaukee last night. That streak didn't reach 18 as the Diamondbacks beat the Brewers 5-1. Brett Anderson got the start for Milwaukee. He was forced to leave in the second inning with a knee discomfort that will land him on the injured list. He was tagged for 3 of the runs, and then Hobie Milner allowed 2 more. But it was Milwaukee's offense that once again failed to show up. Lone run came courtesy of an Avisail Garcia single in the first inning. Milwaukee went just 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and they lost for a 6th time in the last 8 games. Can be the same 2 teams tonight. Turning the Bucks, they are back on the practice floor today. Start prepping for their Eastern Conference Finals matchup with Atlanta that gets going tomorrow. Milwaukee, a favorite to not only win the series, but to win the NBA title for the first time since 1971. However, Atlanta been an underdog in their first 2 series as well. On the other side of the bracket, the Suns going to go for a 2-0 lead on the Clippers tonight in Phoenix.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, it was a big day of recruiting for the Badgers yesterday as they hauled in commitments from 3 guys. Tight end JT Seagreaves from Monroe, athlete Cade Giacomelli from Pennsylvania, and quarterback Akuri Lyde from New Jersey. All 3 are 3-star recruits in the 2022 class. Wisconsin's class now at 5 players. And a secret audio recording from a meeting between Wisconsin senior basketball players and Coach Greg Gard leaked yesterday, and it includes harsh criticism of Gard by the players, including them saying he didn't care about them or have. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
I mean, that's the biggest problem I feel like coming out of this, because the players not being on speaking terms with their head coach is pretty darn bad. But that's something that you have the meeting to try to resurrect and try to fix.
Right.
The biggest thing is the trust and the culture of the program that is now in complete jeopardy.
So this is, and now you just wait, because now you wait and see what it ends up matriculating to. But now the program is under a microscope. I mean, it was before anyway, because ultimately you're results oriented. But now it feels like all the eyes are going to be on Greg Gard. How does he react to players? How does he react to calls on the court? How does he react in practice? How does he talk about his guys? You know, I mean, all of that now comes into play. This almost feels, and to a way lesser extent, but remember when Bobby Knight first went on probation and everybody was waiting for him to blow up? That's kind of what this feels like now. Your coach has been exposed as a guy that many thought didn't give a damn about him. So now it fairly or unfairly feels like everything he does is under a microscope, and you already have one foot out the door just because guys didn't like you, or your players didn't have the respect for you, or feel like you had respect for them. And it kind of feels that way. I personally, I mean, I've always liked Greg Gard. I hope that Greg Gard is able to take this, whatever learning experience there is from something like this from his guys, and is able to move forward. But for the people that have wanted to see Gard gone all along because he just wasn't Bo, this just adds fuel to the fire, in my opinion, for them.
Yeah, I mean, now you're going to see it, especially in the next, I mean, until the season tips off in the next, I don't know how many months, 4 or 5 months, every single move that he makes and every single story or quote we get from the program is going to be viewed at with this lens on it. So that's gonna, like, he's under the spotlight. Yep. So I don't think you make a decision based on this.
No,
but it does give you some context moving forward of where the program is.
And you know, I mean, it just the way Gard got the head coaching job, it felt, and not to say that he didn't have the credentials to do it, but it felt like, as a matter of fact, it didn't feel like it. It was. I mean, Bo made sure his guy got the job. Into that and enforced pill, very mighty to swallow. Now, for those that say, well, this was forced, we wanted to, do this, this comprehensive search, we wanted to bring somebody else in. Now that just throws more shade on Greg Gard to say, look, this wasn't something we wanted to begin with. We haven't had the same level of success, on and on and on. But, and you're right, Gard is going to be under a big time microscope coming up this season. 877-867-1670. Your thoughts on the Wisconsin men's Badger basketball program. And does this change your mind in one direction or the other? Or does this tip the scales for you in one direction or the other? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Want to hear from you. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up over on Twitter? You can do so at Bill_Michaels. You can find us on Facebook, The Bill Michaels Show. Let's see here. This is from Scott, who says, you really think that fans have any care in the world about players thinking their coach isn't nice enough to them? No. Yeah, they do. Scott, fans do think that. Fans, it's not whether or not you like your guys. It's whether you're a coach. How do I explain this? Coach's responsibility in college versus the pros are different, but ultimately the same. They're different because you're not handling professionals. These are guys that are being brought into institutions, going for education, going for life experiences. They are, in a certain way, getting paid to play because of scholarships and such. But the promises you make walking through the door to a mother, a father, and a player as to what it is you're going to do are different than a coach in the pros getting you after you sign a contract when you agree to come and work for that particular team. It's just different. So, yeah, fans care. You want your coach to love your guys. Not in the sense that he would take them all home and they would all be his surrogate son. That's not it. What you want is you want your coach to be a guy that his guys would run through a wall for. You know, you want those stories. You don't need always the one for all of them, because not every coach is going to get along with every player. Once you get there, personalities clash, work ethics clash. What you discover about people, the ability to handle adversity, the ability to, keep your character inside. It's all part of all of that. But you want your coach to feel, or you want to feel as if your coach feels about you that he would run through a wall for you and vice versa. Regardless of whether he completely likes you or not. You want to, your guy has got your best interest in the team at heart. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's go to Bill listening to us in La Crosse. Bill, how you doing today, man? What's up?
Hey, great, Bill. Hey, I got a different take on the Badger situation. What coach just got replaced?
Londo Tucker.
You got it. There's your victim right there.
So you feel Londo
Don't
Tucker
ask me
today?
why, but I'm saying he's the only one maybe that had cause to. I really don't think it was a play. They stand up for each other, but I really think that that's a possibility because maybe he had bad feelings about getting let go.
Yeah, possibly, because he got replaced by Chambliss. Basically, he was up for a full-time position, and they didn't give it to him. That's certainly a thought, no doubt. Is that it?
That's it, man.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
All right, thanks, Bill.
You bet. He drops off. You get on board 877-867-1670. You could say certainly a guy that would hold a grudge against the coach, against the program. You could say a player. Look at a player that goes in there and says, I'm going to say this, but I'm also going to guard my words and what I have to say. He could have been recording it. One of our emailers earlier was absolutely right. It could have been something where somebody went in and said, hey, take a listen to this. This was our meeting with coach, and gave it to a friend who let another friend hear it, or another friend heard it. And all of a sudden it's out there. It could be something to that extent where it was never meant for public ears, but somebody trusted somebody who they shouldn't have. I mean, I don't know who leaked it. I mean, we can look at the obvious and certainly point a finger, and now that shadow of doubt is going to be all over Londo Tucker and anybody else that left the program. That's understandable. And and it goes back to saying before, it's unfortunate because there were 11 people in that room, 10 of which believed none of this was being recorded, that they could speak freely. And that's the shame of all of this as well. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. 877-867-1670. Hey, if you're looking for a motorcycle, new or used, a Harley, I'm telling you, maybe motor clothes. Maybe you want to take a class, learn how to ride, kind of redo the riding school, to keep your skills honed, if you will. If you're looking for service or parts, or just maybe the best place to party for a bike event, I'm telling you, it's Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, just south of 94 on Highway 67 in Oconomowoc. That is the place to be. Wisconsin's best Harley dealer, not judged by just you and me, but by the corporation as well. A numerous time Bar and Shield winner, which is, again, not bestowed by themselves or anything like that, but by the company, as a dealer that puts out quite a few bikes, really high in customer service, and their ratings are high. And they got a great general manager there in Craig Winger. They've got a great owner in Robert. I mean, really good people over there. Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, Highway 67 in Oconomowoc, whether you're coming from Milwaukee, whether you're coming from Madison, if you're coming from Oshkosh, coming from Lake Geneva, coming from any of the surrounding areas, or maybe they've got the only bike you're looking for. Great people to deal with. Get a hold of them. Go to wishd.com. That is WIS, WISHD.com. Again, wishd.com for everything. And don't forget, make sure you look for them come the end of the riding season, so to speak, as the Milwaukee Rally gets underway. Labor Day weekend, and that is going to be the landing spot for our motorcycle ride benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin. Please put Sunday, September 5th on your calendar. Put it on your calendar. We got a lot of details coming out. We're going to be leaving downtown Milwaukee, riding to a couple of select locations, and then ending up at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, and all of the proceeds raised go directly to Fisher House, Wisconsin, helping veterans and their families and military members with medical issues and keeping them all together, putting them. And we're building a new house. We're building another house, kind of a home away from home, for military members and their families and veterans out in Madison. We're starting the new project in Madison, and we need to raise quite a bit of money. I think about $8 million for this thing. So we're fundraising heavily once again. So please, if you ride or you know somebody who does, please support this coming up Sunday, September 5th. And we end up out of Wisconsin Harley-Davidson in Oconomowoc. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show continues on, and the big news of the day, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, coming out of UW-Madison, as someone has leaked a audio recording, 37 minutes to be exact, of a behind-the-door closed doors meeting between the seniors of the men's basketball program from last year and their head coach, Greg Gard, and other coaches. 11 people in the room, and someone recorded it, basically the airing of grievances against Greg Gard. And so it's being met with, if it are not fans of Greg Gard, they're using this as some type of fodder. And others are saying that it's despicable that, somebody has gone this far as to record the airing of grievances. And then off after the grievances were aired, not to get the response of the head coach. Not even present to air this is one thing, but not even presenting the full picture is another. Aaron says coaches have to respect the player on every team. I 100% agree with that. If the players felt that they weren't being respected in some way, shape, or form, then they had absolute every right to go to the head, and they should, to go to the head coach and say, hey, coach, look, this is the way we feel. And that's the only way. That's the only way you get anywhere when it comes to progress. Annie says, I think the difference, college versus the pros, is that college kids are still developing out of high school and going through a big change out of high school, and the maturity level is kind of the same, if not a little bit more. I think college coaches are coaching kids as they grow up, and those that are being paid to play are considered more adults. I think pro coach, by now you would have to have out on your own, as he says. B-Rad says cell phones are going to be the demise of the world. I said it 10 years ago, no privacy anywhere, not to even mention all of the idiots who are so attached to them. Walk into any establishment, and that's all you see, especially bars. Head down, fingers tapping, and going from there. He said it's pathetic. I get it. I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I was sitting yesterday, as a matter of fact, I was at a golf outing, I had said a little bit earlier. And as I'm at the golf outing, they had a lunch. And the guys that I was playing with the golf outing, playing in the golf outing with, they had gone out to the range. So I'm sitting there eating my lunch alone, people all around. And instead of having a conversation, I'm looking at my phone and answering emails and such. So I'm as guilty as anybody, in momentary areas for having 7, 16, 6, 7, 70. Steven says, hey, Bill, I think this is an indictment of Greg Gard for his lack of focus when it comes to his players. He is so worried about winning and keeping his job, or trying to live up to the standard that Bo Ryan set, that he forgot about the guys that he coaches. As much as we might think recording this conversation was despicable, every player seemed to have the same argument. Coach, you don't give a damn about us anymore. Isn't that the biggest picture here? Yeah, but I understand that. And I had mentioned that earlier. It is. That side of this is concerning. What I didn't hear was Gard's reaction to this. What I didn't hear was all of the players react to what Gard then did. Gard listened. It wasn't like Gard said, you guys are crazy, get back to school, get back to work, go run laps. He didn't say that. What he did was listen and then, reconvene the meeting after the fact to talk to all of the players about what they had stated. And as some players have stated, they felt that they were well received. One player said they didn't think that Gard got it. He didn't get it. But none of them said, screw him. Now, some of them didn't comment, and some of them are gone. Some of them have left the program or transferred away or what have you. But nobody has come out again, full force indictment of Greg Gard. Sometimes what you don't say does speak the loudest. I'll give you that because I say it all the time. But it is, we only hear one side of this. 877-867-1670. This is from Kent, who says, yeah, for the players, this is damning, but also for guard. If my kid was considering playing for him, I'd have to seriously rethink this now. And you're right. This is why guard is now under a microscope. Rightfully or not. This is why he's under a microscope, because now this is out there about players stating that has been made public that he doesn't care about them. So for him to walk into a living room and look a mother or a father in their eye and a player, a prospective player in their eye and say, look, I care about everybody on this team. He can stop right there, because at this point in time, people are going to look at him with a raised eyebrow and go, even your own player said you didn't. You know, I mean, the first thing I'm doing if I'm Tom Izzo or anybody else is you don't want to be dirty, but you just say, hey, look, if it comes down to a coach that really gives a damn about you, are you going to Wisconsin? Here it is on YouTube. Click on it. His own players ripping a guy, or you come in here. I mean, in the tough world of recruiting, this is horrible. (877-867-1670). Let's go to Rick. Rick, welcome to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. Long-time listener. Love your show.
Thank you.
And with regards to the Badger situation, I'm thinking it's probably going to be really important to find out the who that this comment came from, in terms of, was it a player or was it a coach? I mean, if it's a player, it's disappointing that it happened, and future players will police their own locker room and not let it happen again. But if this was a coach, now you're going to be asking players in the future how comfortable they're going to be wanting to sit down at a coach or with a coach and want to share and be open. I'll hang up and let you comment on that.
No, I appreciate it. I agree. This is now, if you walk into a closed door meeting, again, like I said before, do you have to have players frisked? Do you have to have everybody put their cell phones down, turn them off? Because you can't trust the guys that you're with, Ben, what did Chris McIntosh have to say about all of this?
I think he really said the right thing. So Jeff Patrikas, Journal Sentinel, writer for Wisconsin Sports, talked to Chris McIntosh, and McIntosh said, in terms of going forward, Greg has our support. Does this make it easier for us? It does not, but I think we can understand what Coach Gard is all about and how much he does care about his players. Our assessment of all of it takes place on a day-to-day basis over the course of years, not one recording that was edited.
Well, that's just it. It's one recording that it aired the grievances and then stopped. And I think that's where, had this then gone on, put it this way, had Gard react, because whoever put this out there clearly had an agenda. So again, I go by what's not said. Had Gard said, you know what, you guys are wimps, you guys can't take it, you're candy, get back to practice, go run 50 laps, that would have been a part of this recording, don't you think?
Yes, but his McIntosh's quote about this making it really tough and kind of evaluating where the program is, that's also correct.
Correct. No, I completely agree. But had Gard reacted in a negative way, which would have just added more fuel to the fire for the negativity towards Greg Gard, that would have been part of this. But since it wasn't, you can only assume then that Gard did exactly the right thing. Therefore, it had to be edited out, or it would have showed a better side of Greg Gard. That's why I always say, what is not said? What's not said here is anything from Greg Gard in this recording. Had he been just a jag, you better believe it would have been in there. But he wasn't. So that's why you got to give Gard the benefit of the doubt in this particular case.
Correct. This just might make the microscope so small on every single action, every quote, every story, every game, that it might become such a sharp focus with this all in mind that it might become too much in the end.
Right.
I don't know. It's tough.
It is tough. and McIntosh's quote there is correct. I mean, you look at all of this, you look at the results. What are you getting? Put it this way. I'm sure Chris McIntosh, on the QT is going to be calling a lot of these guys saying, guys, hey, look, but how do you get guys to trust you now at this point? Because none of the players dropped this and it was one of the coaches. How do you get a guy, if you're Chris McIntosh, to call up and say, hey, trust me, none of this goes beyond my desk. None of this goes beyond my phone. And say, just let me know, give me your thoughts. You don't want to go behind the coach's back, but now this is public, so you have to. You have to go to guys and say, give me your thoughts. And then you make an evaluation. If anything, for your own information, just so you have some background to be able to sit there and say, I'll watch the next season with a gilded eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and now the question is, how does the rest of the players in the program feel? Because these are all the seniors talking to Guard that have been with him for years and have been through a lot of tough stuff with the Moore situation a couple years ago. Now you wonder how the rest of the players in the program feel and whether they disagree with all of it or whether they agree or whether they can even go and talk about it because they feel like they're being recorded.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. The other players in the program are going to be asked about it. Do you feel that your coach has your back? And you're putting them in a very tough situation because now they have to publicly back their coach. You know what I mean? You have to. What are you going to say? You know what? No. What the guy said last year is he didn't have our back, and we felt like that, and I still feel like that. And he's no. You can't. You can't come out and say any of that. We know that. Now you're going to get a bunch of coaches speak and politically correct speak that's going to just say, we feel like he's got our backs, or we feel like, hey, we've become closer together. Maybe it's all true. Maybe they have gotten closer together. Maybe they have become a stronger team.
I mean, I guess one positive for the program is that they're not going to talk to the media or really have pressers or preseason stuff for a while. So there's a lot of time because with college athletics, you really only have press conferences like right leading into the season or maybe during a spring practice.
Yep.
So they're not going to have to go in front of the media tomorrow and talk about it. The players, at least.
And again, this is why it's so important, because had the whole conversation come out, I'd be more apt to believe that Guard then just didn't give a damn. But the fact that it was edited to just the grievances and not the reaction leads me to believe that Guard handled it in the right way. And it's a very one-sided, jaded person who wants to see Guard removed. And that's the belief you have to go by. Because if you don't get a chance to hear the whole recording, then it's all crap. And that's it's kind of like going to a court of law. If you can't play bits and pieces, you got to play it all because you got to understand the context of it. And it's, we know it can be jaded. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hang in there. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
How we looking? Bill Michaels here for the Four Seasons Island Resort in Pembine, Wisconsin. And I've got to tell you, when I want to get away for a long weekend, I head to the Four Seasons Island Resort. It's Northeast Wisconsin's best-kept secret, and the amenities include a 9-hole golf course, indoor saltwater swimming pool, sauna, whirlpool, tennis courts, basketball, horseshoe pits, volleyball, and when you're hungry, choose from the Boundary Water Sports Bar and Grill, Lily's Ice Cream Parlor, or fine dining in the Diamond Room. How about all of that? All Marinette County ATV and UTV trails are wide open this year. Guided waterfall tours as well. It's tucked into the North Woods of Wisconsin. The Four Seasons Island Resort is located on the Muscano Island and surrounded by the beautiful Menominee River, which divides Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan. An island you can actually drive to. How about that? It's simply gorgeous there. Whether it's a romantic weekend for two, a golf weekend with the boys, or an adventure weekend for the entire family, Four Seasons Island Resort is a place to go. Book your getaway today at thefourseasonswi.com. That's thefourseasons, FOURWI.com, and make sure you tell them Bill Michaels sent you.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Reminder, we're brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Also from our friends at Cunis RV, the home of the brand new big unit cruiser, which was a huge hit by the weekend. We had a chance to set it up, turn it on, let people come inside, take a look around. We had our friends from Burn Pit Barbecue go to Burn Pit BBQ, which was a huge hit. Between the Roberts specialty meats, the ribs on a stick, The brats, hot dogs, all the stuff from our friends at Quick Trip, and then the barbecue sauce from our friends at Burn Pit Barbecue. Go to Burn Pit BBQ. They're a veteran-owned business, been in business a little over a year now. It was a huge hit. The ribs on a stick went over massively well at our tailgate party on Saturday out at Road America. And I'll tell you this, between the food, the RV, and then we had that big monster UTV from our friends at Road Track and Trail, that was turning heads. We put it right there alongside the road down by the carousel where the go-kart paths are. And there wasn't one person that walked by that didn't look at it, look in it, walk around it. I mean, it was a really cool setup we had. We can't say thanks enough to our friends at Road America, but man, everything went so perfectly. The Burn Pit barbecue sauce was huge. The Roberts ribs on a stick were huge. The RV from Cunis RV was just awesome. Everybody just loved it. And it performed wonderfully because we got torrentialed on Thursday night, and inside nice and dry. It was awesome. So thanks to everybody for being a part of the program. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Bucks back at it tomorrow night, taking on the Atlanta Hawks. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals at the Fiserv Forum. Brewers back at it tonight. Brett Anderson finds himself on the IL after some issues yesterday in his start against Arizona. Brewers took a 5-1 loss and allowed the Diamondbacks to snap a 17-game and 20-day losing streak. Brewers hoping for better results coming up tonight as they got beat last night. And then you've got the news of the day, and that is that this story leaks out that somebody inside the Badger organization secretly recorded a players and coaches only meeting between the senior players and 4 coaches. And it was basically an airing of the grievances. And the recording of this has gotten out, and it just paints Greg Gard in a bad light. And, like I said, it's what you don't hear is the full recording of everything. You don't hear Greg Gard's reaction. You don't hear, because I guarantee if you did, you probably wouldn't think the same as maybe you're thinking over the sensationalistic words of the 7 players who aired the grievances. Because had you heard Greg Gard's reaction to this, chances are you're probably going, well, he handled that really, really well. These guys had an issue. He handled it extremely well. What's the problem? But because his portion of it's been edited out, whoever did this clearly wanted to paint the Badger basketball program and Greg Gard in a bad light. So I always say sometimes it's what's not said or what you don't hear is probably speaking the loudest. And that's, I would almost guarantee in this particular case to be the case. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Scott said, Bill, is there anything to Gard maybe not asking or show any interest in any of them concerning or coming back? A little disappointment, maybe? Just wondering. That's a great question. I haven't gone back to now. You know what? Greg Gard's got guys coming in. I mean, coaches were put in kind of a quandary anyway because you only have so many scholarship availability. And with guys coming back and guys deciding, guys obviously, freshmen coming into the program and guys deciding to come back or not to come back. And, coach is coach. And maybe you want a guy back personally, but that's a great question. I would have to sit here and look at every one of his reactions for a player not coming back to determine as to whether or not there's a real issue there, It just depends on who you believe leaked this. I guarantee it wasn't somebody that dropped a phone in a garbage can, like a janitor or something like that. This was somebody on the inside. At least they recorded it. Now, what was done with it after the fact, we don't know. But an official statement has now been put out by the Wisconsin men's Badger basketball program. It says, I care deeply. This is from Greg Gard. I care deeply about the student athletes in our program. I want nothing more than to help them and see them succeed on and off the court. Our program has a lengthy track record of doing both. But the path to a championship or graduation is not always easy. Sometimes there are setbacks. Difficult conversations have to be had. Sometimes people just need to get things off their chest. At the end of the day, I believe we are all better for having gone through the challenging moments. I, along with my assistant coaches, have our players' backs. I am fully committed to their development as a basketball player, student, and young man. I am willing and open to conversations with our players anytime in an effort to achieve their goals and those of our program. I am glad our seniors felt comfortable enough to come forward and give me an opportunity to address their concerns. Basketball seasons are full of highs and lows, wins and losses, moments of joy and frustration. The 2021 season was made even more challenging and stressful due to the pandemic. I am proud of every student athlete on our team that competed and persevered and gave what they could for the success of the team. Needless to say, I am incredibly disappointed to find out that a private meeting between seniors from our 2020-21 team and our coaching staff was secretly recorded, edited, and made public. It shows a complete lack of care for our program, our culture, and for the confidentiality that is owed to our student athletes who wanted an opportunity to share their thoughts behind closed doors. Signed, Greg Gard. There you go. There you go. That's from Greg Gard. And it's understandable that he just, now, here's the other thing. So let's just say that there has been an issue behind closed doors, right? This statement that Greg Gard put out is going to be looked at by the guys that are currently in that locker room, metaphorically speaking. And you're going to, the guys are either saying, yeah, we got his, he's proven this, he's done this. They're going to look at this and go, that's 100% true. I feel that 100% true. It was a tough conversation, but we all were the better for it. You either feel that now or you look at Gard as doubling down on being full of crap. One of the two. And that's not for me to judge. That's for the guys behind closed doors to judge. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. One more segment to go, but it's always full of something. Good stuff. More of the Bill Michaels Show right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. And now Barry Alvarez has chimed in on all of this in regards to the secret recordings between the senior players on the men's basketball program last season and their head coach, Greg Gard. Barry says, I've coached for a lot of years, and the idea that somebody would record and edit a conversation between student athletes and their coaches is extremely disappointing. Difficult conversations between coaches and student athletes have been happening since the beginning of time. Every program goes through adversity and a variety of challenging moments. That's sports. Teamwork through it all together and hopefully get better from it. Teams work through it all together and hopefully get better from it. Greg Gard and his coach, their program, stress, difficult pandemic, and the team all the way into the NCAA tournament. Greg and his staff and his team have my full support as they look forward to a 2021-2022 season. That is from Barry Alvarez. There you go. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. So the big news of the day. Yep, the Bucks are getting ready for the Atlanta Hawks, and we know that's a big story here in the state of Wisconsin because the likelihood of them winning a championship has now gone up exponentially in eliminating the Brooklyn Nets. But the other story coming out of Madison is the fact that somebody dropped a recorder in a players-only meeting with their coach, and it's painted Greg Gard in an extremely bad light, calling it the, quote, Badgers, B-A-D, capitalized, culture. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I agree. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. This is from Mark, who says, this is a bad look for everyone, the players, the coaches, and Greg Gard. If you can't trust behind closed doors, then when can you trust somebody? We all know every athlete, every student, every young person has a phone. They use it for many different things. You can't take their phones away from them. They'll feel like they're in a prison camp. You have to go by the honor system. And if you don't have an honor system, then why go there at all? This is a bad look for recruiting for Badger basketball. I think it's only a bad look if your coach handles it poorly. You know? I don't think wiretapping laws equate to this situation, because once there is more than one person in a room or two people having a conversation, if more are invited in, then I mean, I don't know. I don't, this is not something that anybody's going to get into the legal battle with. Maybe posting it, they could maybe look to sue to whomever posted it to take it down. I don't know. but I can't imagine a legal battle coming from this. What I look at is more, how was this now handled, and where does this put the spotlight on Wisconsin Badger basketball? That's ultimately what it is you're looking for. Because the damage is done. You move on. You don't dwell on this. You don't go on a witch hunt to find out who did this. You now go in that direction to try to expunge this and move past it. That's going to kind of do it for us today. Tonight you got baseball coming up. Got some Brewers, Arizona Diamondbacks coming up later on tonight. Brewers trying to get back into their winning ways. You got Freddie Peralta going to the hill with that 2.28 ERA. Gallen is on the hill, the righty for the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are terrible, 21-53 on the season. What you're trying to do is just to get back to winning. Just get back to winning. Get back to doing what you do and what you've been doing. And incidentally, the Cubs are taking on the Indians in an interleague game. Cubs at home, taking on the Cleveland Indians back at Wrigley Field. The rest of the National League, the Cardinals, also interleague. They're on the road taking on the Tigers tonight. And it looks like Cincinnati already early on in the Twin Cities with a 4-2 lead. Bottom of the sixth right now, going up against the Twins. Wade Miley on the hill. Former Brewer on the hill right now for the Cincinnati Reds. So there you go. That's it. We'll see if there's more fallout from this story regarding the Badger basketball program tomorrow. Remember, it's what you don't hear that's probably as telling as what you do hear. Hopefully the Brewers get a win tonight, and the Bucks will preview tomorrow, getting ready for the Hawks tomorrow night at the Fiserv Forum. Until then, it's time for us to go.